What's the most devious way a creator could betray their friends and fans? Is it recording, then leaking private conversations in hopes of exposing them?
Recently, I got into a back and forth with the Rex that has caused a lot of confusion and disappointment to what people have seen me doing, going as far as to call me the next tipster. So let me explain why I was going to leak this call in this stream and why I think Larex is worth bullying.
Is it criticizing people for abusing the copyright system while doing the exact same thing behind the scenes?
Although I was legally within my right to take down the video, morally and as a content creator, it wasn't something that I should have done.
So I just copyright striked it because it's mine. That's it. It's legal.
Or perhaps it's lashing out at your friends for trying to help you.
5 minutes.
No, that's not an apology! There's no apology! That's explanation! Let me speak! You motherfucker!
Or maybe it's blaming all his behavior on a mental illness he wasn't even diagnosed with. In Bowblax's case, these transgressions were only the symptoms of a warped mindset that drove him to repeatedly take advantage of the community around him, all while playing the victim. Throughout Bowblax's career as a creator, two fundamental desires have defined his online persona, approach to making content, and behavior around other creators. 1. A desire to have his voice heard and recognized, and 2. A desire to connect and collaborate with other creators. While these desires are present in any aspiring creator, Bowblax's success and eventual downfall would come from gradually taking them to the extreme. When Bowblax started his YouTube channel back in 2011, these desires manifested as let's plays of his favorite Nintendo games and collaboration projects with his online friends.
Sup, it's
This is a trashy trio.
No.
You can call it hashtag Believers.
Oh my god.
Alright. Have you guys ever looked up Rule 34 Sonic?
The first time I ever saw tits on the internet, Rooch's tits.
However, by October 2016, Bowblax would take things a step further, with a shift in focus from game commentary to drama commentary, with the video, Why I Think Leafy's Keemstar Rant is Stupid.
Hello, this is Bowblax here. I usually don't make videos like this, but today's a very special exception because I feel like there's been a huge injustice just done in the YouTube community. Well, it's been ongoing for a while, but I feel like this video that Leafy's here made about Keemstar is just super stupid, super dumb. The first 6 minutes of this video is pure intro, pure just stupid Keemstar memes. I'm just gonna skip through all the way to his evidence. As a frequent viewer of Keemstar streams, Twitter videos, and Drama Alert, I'm gonna try to explain why I think this whole thing is wrong and actually try to defend Keemstar since not a lot of people are doing it, and I think it's stupid kite, frankly, anyways.
While there was nothing wrong with Bowblax sharing opinions, viewers didn't quite agree with his thought process or reasons for defending Keemstar, with a commenter stating, "I'm really trying to understand what you were saying and to see your perspective, but your arguments get worse the more I think about and try to understand them, and I just end up hating you even more." Despite the backlash, Bowblax saw this as a sign to double down on drama-related content. After all, people were meaningfully engaging with his content, and it was a fresh departure from his previous gaming videos. With every upload, Bowblax steadily built up a small audience that wanted to hear about deleted or hard-to-find information about controversial figures. Even though it was just archiving other people's content, Bowblax was getting some of the recognition and success he craved. Unfortunately, the increased visibility of his channel came with some unforeseen downsides. By November of 2018, Bowblax's viral video covering a Pokemon and Keemstar controversy would get a copyright claim by a media company associated with Pokemon. Naturally, this caused serious outrage, as a much larger creator trying to silence a smaller one is something the community will always stand against. While YouTube later reinstated the video, the copyright controversy with Pokemon proved to be a net positive for Bowblax's career, attracting tens of thousands of new viewers to his channel. Not just that, but other creators would empathize with Bowblax's underdog status in the controversy, which allowed him to deepen connections in the drama community. The most significant of these relationships was with another up-and-coming commentary creator named Augie RFC. Together, they co-hosted the RFC After Hours podcast and discussed any relevant community drama with other commentary creators, such as Tipster, Nicholas Diorio, John Swan, and Turkey Tom.
Obviously I'm with Keemstar on this whole scenario, and I hate Just Destiny, but like,
Seeing Keem's sub count go down right after he mocked me for mine going down a couple of days ago, it does feel good, I'm not gonna lie.
Bowblax's place on the podcast simultaneously gave him front row seats to any emerging controversy worth covering on his new Twitterverses series, and a means of reaching new viewers who tuned into the show. By the 11th of April 2020, Bowblax had reached the coveted 100,000 subscriber milestone, and it seemed like things would only get better from there. However, as Bowblax was achieving YouTube success, the desires that spawned his online career were about to start destroying it from the inside out. On the 27th of February 2020, the channel KNN would upload a video titled Bowblax, YouTube content thief admits to stealing content, which, as the title suggests, showcased a very concerning side of Bowblax during a stream with Croaxis.
So you wanted to talk to Bowblax?
What do you want to say, dude?
That's not what I want to say. I'm interested in your thoughts on some things because I've seen you talk many times, Bowblax, about people on YouTube stealing and taking other people's content. And I'm just curious what the reasoning is that you see that makes it okay for you to do that.
Well, typically, I will repost content when it's important to me or a certain drama, and only if the original content is inaccessible, like deleted or something.
While this was true for some of the videos on Bowblax's channel, it wasn't the case for the vast majority of his content, and Tonkasaw rightfully called him out for it.
That's still stealing, Bowblax. That's not yours. You don't just get to take other people's content and repost it without doing anything to it.
I did it. I can do what I want with the video.
You can do what you want with other people's content.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do whatever you want with other people's content with no repercussions.
People can criticize me, people can say what they want about it, but
you're a thief.
You know, if I can get away with it on YouTube, so be it.
It's important to remember that Bowblax had previously called out creators like Suzy Lou for stealing and re-uploading other people's content without transformation. Now that he was being criticized for the same thing, Bowblax acted very hypocritically and justified his actions by saying that people could call him out, but it didn't matter because he wasn't facing any consequences. When questioned about twisting details about a previous content theft incident, Bowblax boldly admitted to lying to his viewers and fellow creators, only to immediately deny it afterwards.
So why did you edit DMs to try to make things look like someone was coming at you and attacking your channel when the reality was you were committing something that you were the one doing the wrong thing? You're the one stealing.
The original DM was pretty. It didn't even matter what the original DM was.
No, it did matter what the original DM was.
I literally just said something like, okay, which...
The debate only got more heated when Tonkasaw confronted Bowblax with evidence he couldn't deny.
You tried to negotiate, and then you lied.
I didn't try to negotiate. I was copy-pasting your message because I didn't take it
seriously. You didn't put it on... No, you put it on Twitter. No. Bowblax. I know you don't care because you're caught lying again. You're a piece of shit. You're a scumbag.
Stream and we argued, and you deleted it like a little... And
I didn't.
To my channel.
No, it's not deleted. It's still up right now. No, it's still up right now. And you've been told multiple times that you are not allowed to take my content. Bowblax, you're not allowed to take people's content.
Answer, yes or no. Is your stream...
Bowblax, you're not allowed to take my content.
Eventually, Bowblax gave up on presenting reasonable arguments and devolved the discussion to a shouting match.
It's that you will steal, and you're like, well, if I can get away with it, it's fine. But you want to try to go out here and make a name for yourself by trying to go at people for stealing.
You want me to scream about your...
I'm glad that you said you stole. I'm glad that you've admitted that you stole now. I'm glad you did that.
I stole, now you know. Now can you answer my question? Jesus,
I'm not interested in the questions of the thief.
The most disturbing part of this interaction wasn't Bowblax's admission to stealing content or maliciously doctoring messages he shared publicly. It was how he quickly resorted to shouting and irrational behavior when backed into a corner, something that would become a running theme in Bowblax's career going forwards. For now, the content theft allegations from Tonka were largely discredited by Nicholas Diorio, which allowed Bowblax to come out of the situation unscathed.
You're just mad that he re-uploaded your stream, right? That's what's something that's bothering you. That he re-uploaded your stream.
He re-uploads Drama Alert.
No,
he re-uploads Gabby
you complained
Hanna,
about this like 15 minutes ago.
He re-uploads J Station. He re-uploads Bumpy King.
He re-uploads videos
Drama
that are
Alert.
taken down. That's called an archive, dumbass.
However, Bowblax's positive public perception wouldn't last long, as he was about to be called out as a hypocrite yet again. In late 2020, an archive of Bowblax singing an edgy Black Lives Matter song in 2016 resurfaced online, and instantly went viral in the drama community.
Some people don't know the struggle of being fucking black. We always get bullied. We always get bullied. Cause we are black. Black lives matter. All the white should die. Don't mean to us. Might as well kill yourself. Black lives matter. Oh, black lives matter.
While no one took offense to the video and just laughed at it, Bowblax didn't like that it was available and copyright struck re-uploads of the song.
Basically what happened is, people were re-uploading the Black Lives Matter song, and I was like, you know what, I don't feel comfortable with this being up and readily available for people to watch, so I just copyright striked it because it's mine. That's it. It's legal.
It's one thing to copyright strike a video, but it's a whole different story when you copyright someone after getting your lucky break for outing someone as a copyright abuser. When other creators and fans confronted him on it, Bowblax claimed that it was just an intoxicated mistake.
I was in my copyright tab, and I was trying to take down re-uploads of the Black Lives Matter song, which was a bad judgment call. Again, it wasn't false for some of them, but it was a bad judgment call, so I undid those two. But in the crossfire, I had a transformative one come up, and I accidentally striked it as soon as I figured that out, which was only like 10 minutes after I contacted YouTube support. And within a couple days, it went back up, and then he deleted it to make it look like it's still down. So I'm not a fucking false flagger. I'm not a fucking deplatformer. Shut the fuck up. You're retarded. And we want to compare to like the Pokimane copyright strike or whatever. It's like, I talked with Pokimane, she apologized, I accept the apology. I was trying to give her benefit of the doubt in so many ways. This is not the same situation in the slightest, alright?
No matter how Bowblax wanted to spin it, he was doing the exact same thing as Pokimane, and even though he couldn't recognize it, his close friends did.
I genuinely don't believe you accidentally struck the Black Lives Matter video after you sat with me for fucking days telling me how angry you were that it was getting views. I don't believe you accidentally struck the Black Lives Matter video when after talking about for like fucking weeks that this fucking Black Lives Matter song was bothering you. And then when you were high, somebody gave you the idea to go strike it and you're like, that's a great idea.
Yes, exactly.
It's
yes,
the
exactly.
Guy. It's the guy who like literally his first...
And I know why it's bad. Yes, I know why it's bad.
You don't know why, because we had to sit here and fucking argue with you why. And if we've talked about all this publicly, you have no fucking problem with me, and I don't know who else was in the call, it was either John or Tom, we're having to explain to you why your fucking stupid strike made our fucking archive argument look really dumb.
Once again, Bowblax was caught red-handed during a confrontation, and again, he'd resort to irrational outbursts to get his way.
One who asked.
Your apology in an hour and 45 minutes.
No, that's not an apology. There's no apology. That's explanation. Let me speak. You motherfucker. You motherfucker. You fucking bitch. My apology is not in there. My apology was oh my god. You didn't even watch the clip. Why are you saying shit without watching the clip? Just fucking watch my shit and actually, like, listen to what I fucking say, dude.
As dramatic as Bowblax's outburst was, it didn't escalate things any further, nor cause any lasting damage to his reputation. Granted, it was a foolish way to respond to genuine criticism, but at the end of the day, the argument occurred among friends. In addition, Bowblax had removed the copyright strikes, so everyone was willing to look past it and give him a second chance. This gradually led to the "let me speak" line becoming less of a stain on Bowblax's reputation, and more of a funny moment everyone could laugh about.
Also,
but if you were the killer, you would say you wouldn't have seen me there, Bowblax.
I would
you
also
jumped through a vent.
let me speak.
Okay, hang on, dude. That feels my vote. I don't think Nick is crafty enough. Nick.
With that blunder behind him, Bowblax quietly returned to his usual schedule of Twitterverses and RFC After Hours content. By the start of 2021, Bowblax had doubled his subscriber count and seemingly erased all traces of his prior transgressions. actions. Unfortunately, not every creator in Bowblax's friend group was afforded the same level of mercy and forgiveness. Individuals like Tipster, John Swan, and Flamenco would be exiled from the RFC After Hours community following their own controversial blunders. One by one, each of these creators would succumb to the drama they once covered, and Bowblax was there documenting it all. While it was okay to talk about these incidents regardless of their friendship, Bowblax took things to the extreme and made it personal. With Tipster in particular, Bowblax would make several bully streams dunking on his former friend in every way imaginable. On one hand, Tipster's lolcow status made him an easy target, and no one was going to fault him for poking fun at that. On the other hand, Bowblax barely hesitated to turn against someone he once called a friend, and rarely showed any of the former members of the RFC After Hours the same forgiveness he received. Either way, it was clear that Bowblax was more than willing to throw his friends under the bus the moment it became beneficial to do so. Unfortunately for Bowblax, he was about to face yet another self-inflicted controversy, but this time, the community wasn't going to give him the benefit of the doubt. By mid-2024, Orky RFC had been on a year-long break, and Bowblax was becoming increasingly unmotivated to create content due to implied mental health issues. So even though he was at his peak numbers-wise with 300,000 subscribers, Bowblax wasn't in the best shape emotionally and lacked access to a community that would give him the validation or respect he craved. This led Bowblax to fixate on the quickest source of validation available to him: Twitter likes. Around July 2024, Bowblax tried to virtue signal on Twitter with a post that read, "Non-binary people are badass and valid by the way," to which Turkey Tom replies, "Thank God you chimed in." Under normal circumstances, that would have been the end of the conversation, but Bowblax couldn't handle the fact that people weren't taking him seriously, and responded with, "Okay bro, I just wanted to say something I was thinking," like tweeting, "I love pineapple on pizza. I'm not trying to virtual signal. Sucks that I can't compliment something without it becoming a big deal, because it's politically and socially divisive." Overcome with embarrassment, Bowblax immediately deleted the thread, but it was archived just as quickly by the user Alex Gekmo. However, the archives were strangely taken down some time later. This entire interaction would have gone completely unnoticed if Alex had not provided some behind-the-scenes context on why the post was taken down. A month or so ago, Bowblax went on a schizo rampage in my DMs, begging me to delete the tweet I am quoting here. After I obviously stood my ground, he got super aggressive. When that didn't work, he just started rambling in my DMs until I stopped responding. Looking at their DMs, Bowblax attempted to use mental illness as an excuse to manipulate Alex into removing his archive, with statements like, "Can you please delete the tweets? Sorry to ask, but I've legit had a mental break. Sorry for the trouble. I know it sounds gay, but I do legit need a mental refresh and I'm gonna touch grass for a week." Even though Alex tried to explain the tweets were harmless and suppressing them would only cause problems, Bowblax still demanded that they'd be taken down. Reading, "So you just lied when you said you'd delete shit about me if I said I was going through it? You can't just do that and expect me to respect you. I also said no offense, you pussy." As if that wasn't bad enough, Bowblax blocked Alex even after he gave in to his aggressive demands, and listened to his endless excuses of going through a mental crisis from other parts of his life. For someone that built his entire brand on archiving tweets like this, Bowblax was very quick to hide information that painted him in a bad light. Before the community could properly criticize Bowblax for his hypocritical DMs with Alex, another controversy involving him was about to take shape, adding even more fuel to the fire. A few hours earlier, one of Bowblax's tweets about a situation involving the creator King of Nothing earned him a few harsh but honest words from Nicholas.
I think Sonic Josh tried to run defense for it, and he's like, "Well, actually, this own gets kind of ruined when you notice that King of Nothing has double the likes." And it's like, my video has more likes. My video has tons of likes. It's like, it's so obvious he's just parroting again. Listen, I get it. Josh likes to both sides, like every controversy or whatever, just to try to like check in and make sure everyone knows their friends and stuff. But we all know whichever one of us slights you first, you're going to spend the next 6 months on stream talking shit about. So why don't we just speed that process up a little bit? I don't know. I don't know. What are we running defense for him on Twitter and tell me everything he says in private, or what are we doing here? What side are we on? Are we picking a side? I don't know.
Despite Bowblax's two-faced attitude, Nicholas didn't think it was anything worth condemning him over, and simply wanted him to be better.
I have no intention of cutting Josh off. I just wanted to, I felt like I needed to check him. I don't know. There's one thing I never liked about like the way that he operates, and he knows this. I've told it to him plenty of times. You know when like you're having sex with somebody and you say like, no, "This is this okay with you? Are you good right now? Is this cool or whatever?" Like getting like reinforcement. Josh does that in like every fabric of drama.
Unfortunately, that opinion would drastically change after Bowblax was called into a stream to address the DMs from Alex.
But yeah, everything I've told Nick is what I've told King of Nothing. So it's like yeah, I shit talk him, but I do it to his face and I do it to Nick.
No, I'm talking about you giving Nick information about King of Nothing, about private conversations.
Yeah.
What? How is that? That's not you giving the criticism to King of Nothing. You're leaking stuff to Nick.
I'm saying it's me talking with a friend.
Sorry, he's doing generic like gossip, the same thing that everybody else does.
This is fucking retarded. Like we're fucking adults.
You were leaking a bunch of shit about King of Nothing to Nick. You were hearing things from private conversations, then giving them to
I gossiped about my friends to my friends.
That makes you seem like a rat.
My friends, like a fucking normal human adult.
In his defense, Bowblax claimed he had explicit approval from the King of Nothing to share the DMs, which would make him look like less of a snake. However, the fact that Bowblax was still gossiping to both parties about each other raised some red flags.
In his videos, he doesn't fucking care. That's what I love about Sam, dude. He doesn't give a shit. That's why I'm so... Like, I actually like gossiping to Sam. Like, I'm
really, how does that work when you were just saying just then?
Fuck, I misspoke. I misspoke. I shouldn't even be talking. If I'm gonna misspeak one time, I meant that I gossiped to Nick about King of Nothing. Dude, okay, I'm done. I'm done.
Okay. For the moment, Bowblax was about to avoid criticism by rage quitting the call, but he couldn't stop people from covering it, and it was only a matter of time before his childish tantrums got him into even more trouble. By the 11th of September 2024, Bowblax began leaking a Discord call with lyrics to various creators and tried to get them to co-sign his idea of using the call for a bully stream. It was later revealed that Bowblax wasn't too fond of how lyrics covered his recent controversy and wanted to use the call to get revenge. The call wasn't special, it was mostly lyrics trying to encourage and help his friend navigate the current drama, both of which Bowblax desperately needed to hear.
I hope you take care of yourself, man.
I am.
From the sounds of things are pretty rough right now, but I want to see Bowblax thrive and succeed and win. You know?
Yeah, for sure. All right.
For some reason, Bowblax thought this was sufficient ammunition to slander lyrics, and despite everyone advising him against it, he uploaded the bully stream anyway.
Hey everyone, Mayo Monkey here, and I wanted to take a moment to respond to the situation that happened on Twitter a few days ago, and kind of give my thoughts on the matter. In the past when situations have gone on involving me, I've just kind of taken it laying down and allowed people to come to their own conclusions or whatever, and I've decided I'm not going to do that this time. Recently, I got into a back and forth with Rex that has caused a lot of confusion and disappointment to what people have seen me doing, going as far as to call me the next tipster. So let me explain why I was going to leak this call in this stream, and why I think Lorex is worth bullying.
A few hours after the live stream aired, Bowblax seemingly realized the error of his ways and took it down. In a bid to mitigate the overwhelming backlash, Bowblax made a public apology to Lorex and acknowledged his unprovoked betrayal. Unfortunately, the damage was already done, and from what Nicholas revealed on his stream, Bowblax seems to have a history of maliciously backstabbing his friends.
But like the big thing for me, and Josh won't deny this because he knows I can prove it, is Josh was telling me privately he was hoping that King of Nothing would backstab him. You know, his good friend that he's probably crying to right now in Discord? Okay, he was hoping that his friend would backstab him so he could farm him on stream for money. So, alright, it's not just like, oh wow, you're not going against current narrative. This guy's blowing me privately, dude.
In addition, Nicholas would share some messages and details about how Bowblax has been lying to him privately.
A couple days later, he sends me and I swear to God, this is what got me. He sends me a hospital wristband. And I've been fucking running this in my head, right? And I didn't know what I wanted to say because I don't know how much I can say here. And I'm not going to say the name of the condition he claimed to have been diagnosed with. He told me that he had a disorder. And in that moment, and I'm almost positive he's told me he's had it since then, but in that moment, he told me he was 99% sure he was diagnosed with a disorder.
Apparently, Bowblax had been using that disorder to explain why he was acting up, and led everyone to believe that he was getting help for it.
But not only that, he told me he was being medicated for this diagnosis. Okay, they were medicating him. He told me this disorder made him stop hating Tommy C. All right, he's bettering himself. You're laughing. I told you my friend has a disorder, and you're laughing. No, listen, I wanted to believe this was true, because I like Josh and I feel bad for Josh, and I wanted to believe he was doing something that would be helpful for him. But after the Chud Logic stream, I called him and he told me that he's not even sure he has it. I thought he was diagnosed. I thought he was medicated. This is like Boogie's cancer.
At this point, it was clear that Bowblax had no issue lying, manipulating, or backstabbing his friends. It didn't matter how minor or major the problem was. Bowblax was willing to betray the people closest to him to maintain his ego. Not only that, but he'd find any excuses imaginable to justify it when he gets exposed. For a while, this strategy went unpunished. But this time, people were going to hold him accountable. The next day, Augie returned to streaming and hosted the debate between Nicholas and Bowblax. According to Augie, the debate was organized this way because he wanted both parties to be on neutral ground.
Nick challenges Bowblax. On the air, he challenges Bowblax to a confrontation. So I start thinking, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on now. What if I just host that confrontation, right? Because it would make no sense for Bowblax to call into Nick's stream, right? Why would Bowblax call into a stream that's hostile towards him? Just out of, the whim of my own curiosity, I messaged Bowblax, I messaged Nick, and to my fucking surprise, they agreed.
From Bowblax leaking the lyrics call to slandering people he disliked and blaming on BDP, Augie and Nicholas did not hold back while confronting him with his many sins against the community. However, as the stream went on, it became less of a debate and more of a game trying to get Bowblax to acknowledge his wrongdoings.
Okay, so what was your thought process in hindsight? Just plain English, what was your thought process and why you thought that call was valuable to publish?
Basically, he had a misunderstanding of me. I try to explain the misunderstanding, and he says he understands, but also still thinks I'm a liar.
So, I guess you're mad because, to paraphrase, because he disagreed with your assessment of how the call went.
Of how the Boo Boss call went? Yeah.
And how does that reflect on his character? Because you said you were going to do a bully stream on him. I'm wondering what your initial angle was.
The initial angle for the bully stream is that he said, like, oh, I wish you the best or whatever. But then I see, like, multiple days later, he's still doing a stream on me. So I, like, poke him a little bit in the chat. And he, like gets really desperate. Like, oh, where's the Bowblax content? Oh, let's bring Queen in. Oh, I need Bowblax. And I'm like, if you mean the best for me, like, why are you being so desperate to, like, make content out of me days after the fact?
Eventually, they got Bowblax to admit that he'd been lying about the BDP diagnosis all along.
That's why it's
yeah, because I thought it was BPD.
Yeah, you ran to Alex and you said, hey, please don't leak. I have BPD. I got new meds. I'm sorry for freaking out. The freak out being the conversation you had. This is why I think what you're doing is bad. You also sent messages to Alex saying, hey, listen, please don't leak my messages. I'm not myself right now. You can leave the tweets up if you want, but yeah, I'd appreciate it if you didn't mention this DM convo. And I'm not being crazy because of this tweet. It's because of other things in my life.
Yeah, I lied about having BPD. I thought I had BPD.
One after the other, Bowblax's lies and acts of betrayal were laid bare for everyone to see, and even Lyrics joined the call to question not just his actions, but his motives.
Bowblax, why did you record the call in the first place?
Because I was frustrated with you not accepting or calling me like a liar and a manipulator, and I wanted to have the conversation with you, and then I recorded it so I could listen back to it later and
It's because he was mean.
So you recorded the call before even raining me, so you can already listen back to it later?
Listen back to it to see
what does that even mean, dude?
Instinctively, Bowblax tried to justify his malicious behavior by claiming that Lyric started it by calling him a manipulator, but Nicholas quickly reminded him that that assessment was the objective truth.
What was the danger, Bowblax? What kind of situation did you think you were entering? You think you're entering the Coliseum and a phone call on me?
You were sending it to anyone who wanted to see it.
You were calling me a liar and a manipulator.
You are a liar and a manipulator.
So what I said on my stream is that you're being manipulative in the 2020 Boo Boss shit. I guess the manipulative is like the equivalent to the N-word to you, that you can't even utter this around you or else you'll have like an insane episode.
It's not listen, it's not retarded. He has a whole video on his channel about how it doesn't bother him. But God help me, I have seen the word ableist more times in this past 2 months than I've ever read it from Josh before.
Seeing no other way to deny it, Bowblax caved in and explained the thought process behind leaking the call.
What was the reason why you even leaked the call to Smaggle and like showed it around, I guess, like to Toastify and other creators too? What was that reason on the night of 9/11? What was that?
I wanted to get validation for my feelings on the call. So I wanted to like shop it around to see like if people agreed with me.
So you had this call with me, and unless that I agreed with you, you were going to leak this to other people.
Because I wanted to see if I was right about being angry about this call.
You'd think that Bowblax would at least be somehow honest with his friends by now, but that wasn't the case, as they caught him in yet another lie.
So Connor writes Bowblax on September 12th at 3:29 p.m. He says, interesting. Well, obviously this is a lot of content to watch, so if you had to summarize your criticisms for why he's like a monkey in a couple sentences, what would you say so I can know what is going on into it? Bowblax says, he called me a manipulative liar and that he wants to see succeed and not burn bridges with. He was super harsh but dick sucky at the same time. It's gonna make for great male monkey content next year, lol. To be honest, the streams you can skip, but listen to the call on 2x speed. It's so nuts.
Yeah, I definitely pitched it the harshest to Connor for sure, but yeah.
You call that pitching it?
I mean, you're outright
yeah.
telling him what
you're not pitching, you're catching. So
you're outright telling him what your intentions are.
After 2.5 hours of getting confronted with the reality of his actions and the inevitable impact on his reputation, Bowblax decided he'd had enough and left the call.
Alright, well, I feel like we've reached our conclusion here.
Alright, good.
You guys just
I think the conclusion is like just going to show everyone why no one should have anything to do with you.
Alright, well, Keemstar wants in.
Wait.
Oh wait, he left.
No.
He left.
Bowblax knew there was no coming back to the commentary community after leaving the stream like that, so to protect his pride, he blocked all of his former friends. In response, Nicholas felt it was time to show viewers just how unhinged Bowblax could be when someone wounds his pride.
These are DMs from Bowblax to you guys, I presume?
Yeah, one of them is out already.
I helped build the community that you're setting my standards to. Density is not cool. He is not my friend. I hate him. Tippetster I hate as a meme is hate Density. He is evil. He is not friend everyone but you knows this. Literally, like 20 YouTubers know my behind-the-scenes opinion on him. I didn't need your snarky optics check. Fucking DM me next time. Zero respect. I'm asking for bare fucking minimum, dude. Bare fucking minimum. Wow.
Ironically, this situation gave one of Bowblax's favorite bully stream targets, Tipster, the opportunity to give him a taste of his own medicine, with this message, talk all the shit you want, but I knew you were next, and I was right. Literally everything you tried to shit on me for, you did. You're a massive effing hypocrite, and I have zero sympathy for you. You're getting a taste of your own medicine, and you have no one to blame but yourself. From this point on, things only went further downhill for Bowblax, as some old drama he was involved in would resurface and tank his reputation even further. On the 19th of September, a user on Reddit made a post highlighting some dark parts of Bowblax's time with his former gaming friend group, the Trashy Trio, reading, "The reason for posting this is to show Bowblax's current behavior is nothing new. He's always taking glee in bullying people and being two-faced. His impulses make him do terrible things to others so he can step above him." In this post, they included a number of striking claims about Bowblax and his friends bullying someone named SMT because he copied their content, reading, "He and his friends have been harassing this person for 4 years. They made him make the video with them in hopes that they'll give him back his Twitter that they stole. They made a subreddit specifically to harass victims. Bowblax specifically asked if victim has a mental illness and is R-worded. While the full video that accompanies this post is beyond the scope of this video, it's clear that Bowblax and his friends are definitely engaged in some serious online harassment."
Pretty sure you can hear us. Code, yes.
SMT,
okay,
we know that you can fucking hear us.
Okay, there we go. My headphones cut out.
SMT, shut the fuck up. No, they didn't.
Idiot. Yes, I did.
No, they fucking didn't.
Spastic, shut up.
Okay, now answer the question then. Shut the fuck up. Give us those details.
Why do you think Sam's childish? Vent your frustration. So you can finally do streams without being quiet and mending.
Yeah.
Because he's actually put me through hell for the past 4 years.
Explain.
Go in detail.
Regardless of how poorly they treated him, SMT didn't hold a grudge and expressed it in the following comment. Hello there, I am the SMT mentioned in this Reddit post. Now, while what they've done was wrong back in the day, a lot of this shit was 8 to 10 years ago. We've all grown up and matured since then, and we've been on good terms for a while. I don't think it's worth trying to cancel Bowblax or Chaos Bender over this. I'm long since over this now, and none of this shit is relevant or even effing matters nowadays. Over on Twitter, Bowblax was making the worst possible response to the drama, reading, "Just to let y'all know, the reason I'm blocking so much is because I'm converting my Twitter experience to specifically cater to what I need to see to make Twitter versus videos. Might unblock some people after they're done talking about me, but for now, I need to focus on my content." It didn't matter how much he betrayed people behind the scenes or how maliciously he attacked his critics. Bowblax was incapable of understanding that he was the problem, and any apology he made was solely performative. Nowhere was this more apparent than in his apology tweet he posted several weeks after the drama, reading, "Earlier this year, I had a mental health crisis that I let get out of control, hurting many of my friends in the process. My psychotic rant to Nick from July was the catalyst to me realizing something was horribly wrong. I felt very guilty and felt it was my responsibility to update him and let him know how things are going. I jumped to BPD and started telling Nick and others that BPD was the answer, even though I didn't have confirmation from medical professionals. I'm sorry to him and others who were just trying to help me." While genuine on the surface, this apology rings hollow when you look at what Bowblax was about to do to revive his career and reputation. On the 19th of December 2024, Bowblax returned to streaming and tried to monetize what was left of his fanbase with a new Bowblax plushie.
Bobby is back! He's back! He's back and he's blue. So many people over the past 2 years since I launched the original Bobby plush, ever since it became kind of like a meme and a thing online with the whole H3 and game drama and, you know, the Bobby being on the show. So many people have asked me, how can I get a Bobby? I want a Bobby for myself.
To say Bowblax was tone deaf in this video would be a gross understatement. In his mind, Bowblax still had the influence to sell such a niche item. In reality, hardly anyone had interest in the plushie, and they failed to sell enough units to go into production. After that didn't work, Bowblax tried to restart his career the same way it ended, with controversy. By the 11th of January 2025, a throwaway Twitter account would leak images of Bowblax's Manchi OF page and claim that they got the leaks from emails shown in one of his recent streams. The Manchi profile had a description that read, "I'm the ultimate she-male. Why settle for being hot as a girl or a guy when you can do both? Down to do anything or anyone." As you'd expect, all of Bowblax's former friends were repulsed, but none of them condemned him for it and just laughed. However, that didn't stop him from trying to weaponize it against them, with a tweet that read, "I feel like I came out as non-binary at the worst time in the worst way. Happened during a mental health crisis. Gender diversity discourse online is the most volatile it's ever been, and my gender expression seems to be the least accepted type. Feminine with body hair." It was obvious Bowblax wanted to use his new gender identity to shield him from criticism, but no one was going to forget his vast history of lies, manipulation, and betrayals. In hindsight, everything that's happening to Bowblax right now is his own fault. He let his need for fame and validation from fans to bring out the worst in him. From his hypocritical copyright drama to his recent falling out with the commentary community, Bowblax only ever thought about his public image and channel revenue. It didn't matter if he was being a massive hypocrite in private, betraying friends, or outright bullying someone. And while that downfall was embarrassing, few creators have managed to stretch their humiliation out as long as iDubbbz. Just when he thought Anissa's husband, aka iDubbbz, aka Ian Jomha, couldn't dig himself into a deeper hole, he decides to not just backstab one of his biggest supporters, Ethan Klein, but totally destroy whatever hope he had of Creator Clash 3 succeeding.
Wakey wakey, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Wake up. Time to be awake, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. This is no longer a dream. This is a nightmare. Wake up.
Between 2021 and 2023, iDubbbz and the creator Sam Hyde found themselves locked in a number of heated exchanges that stemmed from a failed documentary collaboration. From iDubbbz banning him and the fighter he trained from attending Creator Clash, to Sam calling him a cuck for supporting his wife's OF account. The two were locked in an ever-escalating beef that was ruining the fanfare around the event.
Were you under the impression that you were going to be on this card at any point? No, I didn't think I was going to be on the card, but I didn't realize at any point that I was going to be blacklisted from a charity event. That I bought I got 5 front row tickets. It was $10,000, and it's for charity. And supposedly I'm going to be refunded this money. So I guess he wants me not around badly enough that it's worth taking away $10,000 from charity.
While the first installment of the Creator Clash brought in over $1 million for charity, the second was a complete bust and lost around $250,000. One thing of note during this entire controversy was iDubbbz's extreme sensitivity to criticism. Whenever fans or creators like Sam called him out for denouncing the edgy persona that built his career, iDubbbz would immediately overcorrect by either trying to silence the criticism or doubling down on hating the man he used to be.
I've realized that I need to be crystal clear about what I believe, so there's no room for ambiguity. I am responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel, and I've also created a culture of apathy and, I don't know, a lot of like cruelty as well. Like, you know, some of the videos I've made have been very not edgy. I don't think they you know, some of these videos were edgy. I think they were just outright cruel. So I don't want people to, you know, get it confused about, you know, where I stand. I have made some cruel, hurtful content, and I need to acknowledge that, and I'm really sorry that it's taken me this long to acknowledge it.
While the controversy cost him more than 700,000 subscribers and left a mark on his reputation, iDubbbz was mostly able to put it behind him and resume uploading content in the months that followed. However, by the 4th of February 2025, iDubbbz would take yet another sip from the well that had poisoned his career when the Creator Clash Twitter account announced the next installment of the charity event. Despite the previous controversy surrounding iDubbbz and the Creator Clash brand, viewers were more than willing to give the event and its associated charity streams another shot, with comments like, "I had literally zero idea this was even happening. I think this was a great idea to promote the actual event coming up, but this live stream itself needed to be announced ahead of time. This was fun and looks like it has lots of potential to get lots of money for charity if you advertise it a bit. I'm sure lots would show up and donate. Please promote the event more than last year. I want to see it be successful." The positivity around the event wasn't just limited to the comments, as many viewers eagerly supported the stream with several generous donations.
Oh, thank you, Ethan and Hila, for the 1,000.
Whoa, Ethan and Hila, $1,000! Woo!
For Stand Up to Cancer.
As iDubbbz's charity event was gaining momentum, one of its biggest supporters was facing a very unsettling situation. Around March 2025, Ethan and his family became the target of a disturbing harassment campaign when Child Protection Services was falsely called to his home after he mentioned that they could have contracted Giardia from their dog.
Sonny's crawling around, he's putting everything in his mouth, he's at that age, he has Giardia.
Oh shit.
Oh,
and now Hila has Giardia.
Shut. For real?
And now I think this morning I had diarrhea.
Oh my god.
What can I do to not get it from you?
I'm trying to...
Because I'm not trying to get it.
Can we crank the AC maybe?
It's extremely ridiculous to get. You have to ingest my poop.
While the manner in which his family contracted the disease might suggest some hygiene concerns, Ethan strongly believed it wasn't serious enough to warrant a CPS visit to his home.
It turned into this whole snark narrative that our house is a mess, that there's dog shit everywhere, that Sonny is eating shit and getting Giardia, and that, you know, etc., etc. And, well, it culminated in somebody finally, an anonymous call went into them on the 3rd, saying that they were somebody that works at the house, and they wanted to report us because our kids are crawling around eating dog shit and getting viruses. And they were able to provide enough details because of what I said on the show to make it appear that it was somebody, he said, like when he first showed up, he's like, it's somebody that you know who made the report.
The incident cut so deep that Ethan and Hila would go on a several minutes long rant about how their close friend iDubbbz and Anissa didn't bother standing up for them in the face of online harassment, something they gladly did for the Jomhas months prior.
Thanks, Anissa, for standing up for your girl. I actually stood up for you so many times, because like, why would I not? It was crazy. It's crazy. People were shitting on you and Ian because you did. Of course I was gonna stand by you. That's insane. It's absolutely insane and disgusting. But now you choose to hang out with people that would have a problem with you if you defended me. So,
the problem...
Okay, if you want to hang out with those people and have no spine and not stand up for another girl that stood up for you, enjoy your new friends.
For a bit of context, the new friends Hila and Ethan were referring to were a group of creators associated with Hassan Abi. Ethan and Hassan frequently clash over different political topics, and the debates often get personal. Considering iDubbbz's association with both parties, you'd expect him to stay neutral and not pick sides. Unfortunately, he was not at all interested in being neutral, as iDubbbz was about to betray his friend in the worst way possible. On the 16th of April 2025, iDubbbz would revive the legendary Content Cop series with an upload dedicated to dissecting his former friend Ethan Klein.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Ethan, wake up.
Wakey, wakey, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Wake up. Time to be awake, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. This is no longer a dream. This is a nightmare. Wake up.
Ethan, the dumb bitch is telling you to wake up.
Wake up. Ethan, wake up. Wake up, Ethan. Ethan, wake up. Wake up. Since anyone? Just wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up. Wake up, Ethan.
I'm not gonna do a react content yet, chat.
I'm listening. Nobody's told you to wake up, Ethan.
Yummy, I love Sabra hummus.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up. Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Wake up. That was not nice. Wake up, Ethan. Just wake up.
According to iDubbbz, the content cop on Ethan was necessary for two reasons. One, Ethan's recent attack on him during the H3 podcast, and two, Ethan's inability to handle political discussions.
Guys, I'm going to tell you a story about Ethan Klein. I know some of you have been following him, but there's a lot of people who might not be familiar with the background, with his podcast. He's had a show with Hassan Piker. In doing so, he's gathered a ton of different audiences. Now, in his podcast with Hassan, Leftovers, they would mostly talk about surface level progressive shit and make fun of right-wingers.
And you're telling me he didn't flick their dick once at least?
Oh, that's 100 shavers, you trans women. I say, oh no!
And it was mostly that until they actually had to reckon with a very serious topic. I would say that Hassan was very well equipped to talk about that topic. Ethan was not prepared for this. Ethan, the whole time, is more of the goof guy. And that's fine, you know, we don't expect Ethan to be an expert on the topic.
From iDubbbz's perspective, Ethan's personal connections and humorous approach to content creation made him ill-equipped to handle a particular political discussion. He even went so as far as to describe his coverage as propaganda.
He's just got done capturing a massive progressive audience who are very politically savvy. They follow Hassan. Hassan is strictly a political streamer, so this is something they're very keyed into. So when they see Ethan say things that are just like not accurate and it's just propaganda, they're gonna call it out.
Political debates aside, iDubbbz would spend the vast majority of the video responding to his recent falling out with Ethan and justifying why he wouldn't speak for his former friends.
I'm not gonna assume that Hila knows, but I'll say it for anyone who doesn't know. Anissa is half Lebanese and half Irish. For anyone unfamiliar, the Irish have been on the receiving end of a lot of oppression and genocide. On the part of the Lebanese, they've received a lot of oppression and attacks from the IDF. So Anissa is very well familiar with the propaganda and the shit coming out of Israel. Choosing now, out of all the times, to be like, please defend me, No, we're not gonna fucking defend you.
When it came to Ethan talking about the people who spread rumors about him, iDubbbz made it seem like he was overreacting and that it wasn't as serious as they made it out to be.
She's friends with people like Denims.
I know,
Her chat,
yeah.
Which I'll
she's
show.
friends with
Denims is actually participating in this whole Child Protective Service lie.
Yeah,
which I'll
and if
show
you're
you guys
friends with them, then you're saying what they're saying.
You'll notice that Ethan and Hila start talking about this Denims character. Originally, the complaint was about my former editor. He's been chatting shit about Ethan and Hila for the past year at least. They only care about it now because I guess it was spoon-fed to them via their Reddit that's clearly looking out for them. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, we are friends with Denims, but I would say it's the same level of friendship that we had with Ethan and Hila. It's like kind of an internet friendship. We think that she's a good person like we think Ethan and Hila are good people. Right now, one's a little bit more fucking nasty to me.
Something worth noting is how iDubbbz doesn't mention that Ethan and Hila were targets of a false CPS call or online harassment. Instead, he focuses on how their call out affects him emotionally.
This is your emotional dumping ground. It's horrible. This is not what podcasts are. There was a way to approach this to say like, yeah, we feel hurt by you guys not saying something. I feel very insulted and I feel defensive and I feel like I am speaking up for a lot of people who have problems with you and a lot of people who have been on the receiving end of your harassment.
By the end of the video, iDubbbz thought it was necessary to bring in a therapist to analyze Ethan's behavior, and he had this to say.
From the clips that you have shown me, I believe that Ethan is a good person and that eventually he will feel sorrow and will feel sorry and will apologize, and I will be there to evaluate that apology when it happens, which I know it will.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Unfortunately, Kirk did not change his grade, but that's okay because this is the internet. Anyone can have their own official apology rating system, so I'm going to rate Ethan's apology a B-. That's just based on my own feelings and my own rubric.
Analyzing Ethan's behavior wouldn't be the only reason the therapist was there, as he also gave iDubbbz the opportunity to cry about his own problems in hopes of garnering some sympathy from viewers.
See the dynamic of Ethan and Hila. Like, fuck, like, it's really hard to be a couple online and see people attacking your partner, and it's like, okay, like if you come to their defense, that doesn't always help them, right? Sometimes that makes it worse for them.
It goes without saying, but iDubbbz's latest content cob didn't go over well with fans. From garnering over 500,000 dislikes to having the entire comment section roasting him. Viewers saw iDubbbz's video as more of a personal attack against Ethan rather than a coherent criticism of his content. Viewers weren't the only ones disgusted with iDubbbz's behavior, as Ethan got to share his thoughts about the video live on his stream.
Use the For You tab. For all you know,
This is your own? You don't know what's on my feed? Let's not address the fact that my friend called Hila a genocide baby killer.
Wait, your friend did?
His friend.
Oh, his friend. Okay.
Let's not address that. Let's address this by saying, you don't know what's on my feed. Are we really okay? We're really taking this on.
I only use lists. For all you know, I'm seeing these things tweeted out by my editor of a year and a half ago and saying, God, that is nasty. I'm just not gonna throw someone away because they're having a parasocial weird moment.
Okay, that's how you want to describe being a virulently fucking anti-Semitic and hateful, as a weird moment.
He still made no mention that CPS was called on our children and that guy was
celebrating
it.
Justifying it.
Whether iDubbbz knew it or not, attacking Ethan with a politically charged narrative was about to cost him more than a few dislikes and harsh comments, as his controversy bled into the latest iteration of Creator Clash. By the 29th of April 2025, one of the main fighters for the Creator Clash 3 event, Harley Morenstein, tweeted that he would no longer be participating in the charity event. While Harley didn't state why he was dropping out of the event, users speculated that it was due to iDubbbz's political views and association with with Hassan someone that Harley had been at odds with in the past. However, looking at his conversation with Nicholas Diorio a few days prior, it seems Harley already had concerns about how the event was being handled.
Done the next day. So now the fight is over and we all slept in the hotel, us and you know, everyone on Twitch that got brought down. We all slept there. And the next day was this party. And I remember going to the party and seeing like professional photographer. I remember seeing some girl singing on stage and a guy telling jokes after. And in my head, I was like, someone flew that girl down. I don't know who she is, but she got hotel room. She may have also gotten paid to be here. I'm looking at the food on the table. I'm not really hungry. I'm like, all this food. I'm like, I was with my partner at the time. I was like, I don't know if everyone here is analyzing it the way I am, but we paid for this party. I thought money was going to charity still. So I'm like, money's going to charity, but like this party is paid for by us because we were supposed to get a bonus on top of it all.
Yeah, so you guys didn't know how bad it really was, and then you were like, did they throw us under the bus, or?
No, that's when I found out the sick kids paid for that party, not us, actually.
Whatever his reasons were, the fact remains that Creator Clash had lost one of their biggest fighters, and it would be a struggle to replace him. Speaking of struggles, the event's organizers were having trouble selling tickets and had to remove some of the available seats to make sure the venue looked less empty. In a bid to save the event, iDubbbz reached out to several other potential fighters, but none of them were willing to take the offer.
iDubbbz DM'd me and he asked, how much do you weigh? So I think he's gonna try to get me in Creator Clash, which, by the way, before that comes out and before that gets invited, and before I get invited to that, I'm not interested.
As if things couldn't get any worse, another fighter, Lena Ayad, also dropped out of the event the following day.
It is with great regret that we announced that Lena will not be participating in Creator Clash either.
Yes. First off, I apologize to any of the fans who were going to see Lena. It's been a lot, and Lena's just sort of been thrown in the middle.
You'd think with all these hits to the Creator Clash brand, iDubbbz would focus on salvaging the situation and de-escalating the controversy. Unfortunately, it seems he only wanted to make things worse. On the 3rd of May 2025, iDubbbz released a content deputy on Ethan and tried to blame him for the downfall of Creator Clash 3.
I was hoping that if I made a video about Ethan, he would act like an adult and he would keep the attacks directed at me and Anissa. Unfortunately, I was wrong in thinking that, because Ethan, in a desperate attempt to attack and smear Anissa and I, he started attacking our charity event.
From iDubbbz's perspective, the backlash he and Anissa received was unjustified, and instead of taking accountability, they decided the best course of action was to hand over the event to their business partners.
Now, with this recent revelation that people are just going to use Creator Clash to attack Anissa and I have decided to step away from Creator Clash. We have relinquished control to our business partners who ran the previous 2 events. They're very capable. They know exactly what they're doing. They run events on a regular basis.
For the rest of the video, iDubbbz addressed various points Ethan made against the Content Cop video, with the main one being on how he didn't mention the false CPS call.
The main criticism that I was seeing online with my video from Ethan and Hila is that I didn't mention the CPS call. I wonder why I wouldn't mention the CPS call. Could it be that the CPS call happened the same day that you were shit-talking me, and I didn't have any chance to defend myself? You just immediately, in the same podcast, right next to each other, said, CPS call was very traumatic. And then you said, fuck Ian and Anissa. And you linked those together, you kind of layered those flavors, and then Anissa and I got a bunch of harassment. We had nothing to do with the CPS call. What are all these comments on your Reddit saying like, it happened because of the CPS call? I don't entirely blame your audience for getting confused, because number 1, it's a fucking cult, and number 2, you can't even get the timeline straight.
The way iDubbbz was framing the situation made it seem like people were blaming him for the CPS incident, but that wasn't the case. People called him out for not mentioning it in his Content Cop video or acknowledging that it was the reason for Ethan's outburst. He even went as far as justifying the CPS call by claiming Ethan's viewers would naturally be concerned.
So of course, Ethan, having made so many enemies over the years,
other people react to his content. And when other people see that he's talking about his children getting giardia from dog poo, people are quite reasonably concerned. And so, yes, anyone who's seeing that content might be concerned enough to call CPS.
iDubbbz was desperate to paint Ethan as the villain, but similar to his recent content cop, viewers weren't going to take his side, expressing their dissatisfaction with comments like, learns the ability of empathy until it comes to frivolously calling CPS on someone. Quote, actually, it's a good thing you almost got your kids taken away, from Mr. Empathy, as well as, never let YouTubers use the word empathy ever again. What makes this video even more laughable is how iDubbbz automatically assumed the internet would take his side and stated the dislikes on his original content cop were completely inaccurate.
Also, for all the people who touch grass, I want to remind you to click the like button on this video, not so it goes in your algorithm or anything, just specifically so that we can add a counter narrative, or I can get an idea of how much astroturfing is out there, because I know that a lot of these fuckers, they love their dislike button extensions. And I saw that shit and I was like, what the fuck? These are all like fabricated numbers. The like-dislike ratio was like 80-20 on my video, and then they tried to create a narrative of like, no, people actually hate this content cop, guys. It's actually so much worse.
Ironically, by sharing that metric, iDubbbz just proved how accurate said dislike extensions were. As one user on Twitter would put it, he then shared a screenshot providing analytics from a previous video at 61.7% ratio. However, the YouTube dislike extension showed that same video at 61.37% ratio. Seeing all of this unfold from a distance, Ethan decided to dedicate an entire section of his recent podcast appearance to clowning on iDubbbz, and shared this prediction about the future of Creator Clash.
Very proud of the event that we made with Creator Clash. It's still happening,
No,
June
it's not.
28th.
This event is not happening. Obviously, I'm making a prediction. I don't think this event is happening. I think this is going to go down as one of the most monumental failures in YouTube history by a creator. And I was joking, but now I think it's actually true that this is going to make TanaCon look like the fucking Tony Awards.
Since writing and editing this video, iDubbbz and Anissa have somehow made the situation around Creator Clash even worse. From even more fighters dropping out, to the charity aspect of the event being totally debunked. Everything surrounding Creator Clash has only degraded with each passing day. Regarding the charity side of the event, it was revealed that Ian and Anissa were taking 34% of the event's profits before any donations were made. And if that wasn't bad enough, they refused to explain where the proceeds of the events were actually going, while placing everything under the guise of it being for quote charity. As one of their former commentators, Wade Plemons, put it,
problem is you don't hear the enthusiasm about it being charity event, charity event, charity event, charity event, charity event, over and over and over here, like it was marketed when it came to fruition. Now, all the stuff they're saying there is legitimately what they tried to do. They want it to be a party. They want it to be like VidCon. They want it to be like influencers all gathered in one place. That's what happened. I did see a lot of influencers there. I did feel a little bit out of place and like it was a bit more VidCon-y than an actual fight event and like a party, all under the guise of a charity event.
These concerns were further echoed by iDubbbz's former trainer, who added more context on where all the money from the previous Creator Clash went.
I think it was you, Kate, that mentioned that he and Anissa did in fact pay for Hassan and all of his compadres to travel to and stay at Creator Clash 2.
Yes.
Yeah, so they were talking about that long before, about how they had to fly in all these people. First of all, they rented the hotel for over 300 creators and flew a lot of them in. When the first year it was much more scaled back. We just had a couple floors of like some place, like a nice suite place, but it wasn't extravagant at all.
As if that wasn't embarrassing enough, their coach also revealed just how much of a stranglehold Anissa had on iDubbbz's training routine and life.
They didn't want to take time to get to know the boxing community.
Yeah.
She acted like she was better than the boxing community.
Yes.
We were in a boxing gym called Top Rank one time,
And there was a guy named Jay Prince who was like the manager for Floyd Mayweather, manager for Andre Ward, and all these very high-level boxers. So for me, that's a big deal. And the owner of the gym was kind enough to introduce us, and she was like, "No, I don't want to meet him. Ian's tired. We don't want to meet him."
Yeah, wait, I don't want to meet him because of what?
Yeah.
Ian was tired.
Yes.
She would tell Ian when he was tired. One time we ended sparring, and afterwards everybody's hanging out, and she walks up to Ian and she goes, "You're hungry."
Yes.
And then so they had to leave because Ian was hungry.
Controlling iDubbbz and hindering his training wasn't enough for Anissa, as she allegedly had an open crush on one of his sparring partners.
What I've heard is that she was hitting on one of his sparring partners and was obsessed with him and gave him a VIP pass to the event.
A lot of his sparring partners got the passes, but she definitely had a big crush on one of the guys that would come in and spar with them, because anytime they would spar, she would just be super into it and watch every moment. And then even if he would like beat Ian up, she'd be very into it.
In retrospect, iDubbbz could have avoided all of the backlash if he hadn't tried to throw one of his biggest supporters and collaborators under the bus. Even after being rightfully called out for that, iDubbbz still felt he was in the right and tried to spin the narrative in his favor. Sadly, his efforts have only alienated the fans and creators who stood by him for most of his career. With his subscriber growth consistently in the negative and hype around Creator Clash completely fading, one can only hope that this fiasco will be enough to make iDubbbz see the error in his ways. And potentially for the better, the event was also postponed to October 25th, 2025. But whether or not it will still actually take place or not is still a question to be answered. Unfortunately for Ian, that was not the end of the story. It was basically the first act. Anissa Jomhar's husband, the creator, formerly known as iDubbbz, has been stuck in a never-ending cycle of self-sabotage. Over the past few months, things have somehow managed to get worse than most viewers thought possible. Not only has he lost over 1 million subscribers, he's burned bridges with creators who used to defend him, won lolcal of the year, taken shots at people who barely even know him like Moist Critical, and at one point even ended up cosplaying as a VTuber dragon while begging for Twitch subscribers.
Please, I need your subs. Look at this, the Denny's patrons. They're rapidly declining, we need your subs.
And the list could go on and on. At this point, it's honestly impressive how far Ian and Anissa have managed to sink over the past year, and somehow it still doesn't look like they're slowing down anytime soon. The last time I talked about Ian, his charity boxing event, Creator Clash, was already in a terrible spot. Ian had just uploaded his content cop on Ethan Klein, and that video set off a chain reaction that nobody involved was prepared for. Within days, multiple fighters started dropping out, and Ian's own boxing coach Michael Briggs ended up going on the H3 podcast to talk about what it was actually like working with him, and the picture he painted was not great. The coach openly said he believed Anissa had ruined Ian's life. His wife, Kate, who had also helped train both Ian and Anissa, shared something even more serious. Kate is a survivor of child marriage. She had been forced into a marriage from the age of 12 until she was 23, and Ian and Anissa both knew about it. When a bill was being pushed in the US to ban child marriage, Kate reached out to them and asked if they could help spread awareness. According to her, they just left the message on read.
Last year, right, 2024, I learned that there was a House bill in Washington State trying to pass House Bill 1455 to end child marriage. And so when I learned of this bill, I thought to myself, even though it had been 15 years since I escaped my prison, like, this is a chance for me to come forward and tell my story. I sent, so Michael and I went to Olympia in Washington. We met with politicians. We lobbied to support the bill. I gave my public testimony to support the bill. And, I was on Seattle Times and television and everything. And I reached out to Ian and Anissa and I asked them if they could help, share the information, because it was really important to me that this bill passed. And they just both left me on red. But guess what? Today, when they saw the highlights on Ian's story that we were going to be on here, Anissa was texting me and Michael, and they're like,
They reached.
Yeah.
The main issue she had with Ian was the image he presented to the world. Online, he portrayed himself as this thoughtful, empathetic guy who had grown and matured. But when someone actually came to him asking for help with something serious, she felt like he simply did not care. Not long after that interview dropped, the news everyone expected finally became official. Creator Clash 3 was cancelled, which wasn't very surprising. By that point, a huge portion of the fighters had already pulled out, and the public image of the event was basically unrecoverable. A lot of that damage came from Ian himself. He released the content cop right before the event was supposed to happen, and several of the fighters on the card were literally employees of the H3 podcast. Once the cancellation was announced, things somehow managed to get even worse. One of the fighters, a creator known as Nathan Barnett, better known online as Dad, uploaded a video titled Creator Clash 3 cancelled, Dad tells all. According to Dad, both Creator Clash events left him in a really rough financial spot. Fighters were given about $20,000 for training, which he spent entirely preparing for the second event. He expected there might be some kind of bonus afterward, but after the event underperformed, that bonus never came. At one of the parties, he says Anissa told him the reason they did not have the extra money was because people had pirated the stream. Meanwhile, he had already put his body through months of training and injuries for an event that ultimately went nowhere. At one point, he was camping with some of the other fighters when Ian casually mentioned that he was working on a content cop about Ethan Klein. Dad originally thought it was some kind of promotional stunt to build hype for the event, but the more Ian talked about it, the more it sounded like he genuinely wanted to start a public fight with Ethan. That was the moment Dad says he realized the whole thing might blow up.
Then Ian tells me, before Creator Clash 3 is about to happen, oh, I'm putting out a hit piece on Ethan Klein. And I'm thinking, oh my God, dude, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to cause trouble? Because now I'm thinking, this is gonna ruin Creator Clash 3, and I'm gonna get screwed again.
Trying to understand what was going on, Dad even sent a $20 donation to Ethan during a stream, and asked about the situation. Almost immediately, Anissa messaged him a screenshot of his own donation asking if it was real. According to him, she then called both him and fellow fighter Harley Morenstein, who had also dropped out, and told them they had hurt her and Ian. On top of that, Dad said he felt blindsided by the way John talked about him behind the scenes. He said they mocked him for being weird, which he found ironic considering the entire premise of Creator Clash was internet personalities and eccentric creators stepping into the boxing ring.
This thing I want to say is that I always tried to be respectful of them, publicly and personally when I was talking to them. I've always given them the benefit of the doubt and never really wanted to place blame on them or anyone. And then it turns out they were just talking trash about me behind my back. Ian's coach said on H3 that they used to say I was weird and talk trash about me, and that I also heard the same thing from Froggy Fresh 2 years ago.
Eventually, the frustration boiled over. Dad publicly challenged Ian to a boxing match and even sent him several texts asking if he would be willing to do it. Ian's response was short and pretty dismissive. Oh brother, kick rocks. It's also important to keep this in mind. Dad was not some random critic. If anything, he was one of Ian and Anissa's biggest supporters. During the controversy around Creator Clash 2, he was constantly on Twitter defending the event. Whenever someone criticized it, Dad would jump in and remind everyone it was for charity. He was easily one of the most vocal defenders they had. Even with all of that, he eventually hit a breaking point. And ironically, while Ian created that content cop to try and bring down Ethan Klein, the whole situation ended up giving Ethan more ammunition than he could have ever asked for. By the time the dust had settled, Ian had burned an unbelievable number of bridges with fighters, trainers, and people who were originally there to support Creator Clash. This would be far from the first bridge Ian decided to torch, and it definitely wouldn't be the last. For most of his career, Ian built his entire brand around calling people out. That was the appeal of his channel for years. When someone on the internet did something dumb, hypocritical, or embarrassing, Ian was usually the one making a video about it. His Content Cop series became one of the most recognizable formats on YouTube because people trusted him to say what other creators were too afraid to say, which makes his current situation pretty ironic. Because lately, Ian has been doing something that the old version of himself probably would have roasted mercilessly. Instead of focusing on his own content, he has started taking shots at creators who really had no reason to be involved with his drama at all. The biggest example of this is his strange fixation conversation with Moist Critical, better known to most people as Charlie. For anyone who has watched Charlie's channel over the years, the two creators actually had a lot in common. Both built their reputations on commentary about internet culture. Both were known for criticizing weird behavior online, and both had audiences that overlapped quite a bit during the mid to late 2010s. If anything, Charlie was one of the few large creators who never seemed particularly hostile towards Ian, even when Ian's public image started taking hits over the last few years. Charlie's comments about him were relatively mild compared to what other creators were saying. He never launched some massive attack video or tried to dogpile him during controversies. This was a bridge that never needed to burn, but somehow Ian managed to light the match anyway. During a stream and a few podcast appearances, Ian started talking about what he calls the alt-right pipeline. His argument is that certain creators who avoid taking strong political stances end up indirectly helping extremist ideas spread online. According to him, audiences who watch neutral commentary channels can slowly drift towards more radical content over time. On paper, that sounds like a complicated discussion about internet culture. In practice, the way Ian explained it made almost no sense. For reasons that were never clearly justified, he decided to use Charlie as one of the main examples. Ian argued that creators who mostly stay non-political create a space where viewers with different ideologies can comfortably exist in the same audience. In his mind, that environment somehow allows extreme political ideas to grow unchecked.
The thing that kind of first stands out to me is that I never perceived 2016 iDubbbz to be ideologically like right-wing or ideologically hateful in the way that those other two are. Like
it's part of the pipeline though. It's the same reason people wouldn't say Charlie, Moist Critical, is right-wing or like as ideologically fucked out there as like a Nick Fuentes or even Asmongold, right? Like
yeah, exactly.
He holds some space for the people in his audience who might have some differing opinions. He doesn't make it clear, like, I don't want you in my fucking community, like, outright. And, you know, I get it. I get the hustle. I did it for a while. But it is a little bit of cope. And I understand why people don't want to take the path that I took, because it breeds a lot of hate.
So even if the creator themselves is not promoting those ideas, they are still contributing to the pipeline. The problem is that Charlie is one of the worst possible examples he could choose from to make that argument. Charlie has spent years openly criticizing political figures, commenting on news stories, and making it clear where he stands on certain issues. And the strange part of this entire situation is that Ian eventually admitted that he does not even watch Charlie's content regularly.
Is Charlie right-wing? I've been watching his content for years and thought he aligned with you and Hassan most of the time. I mean, he might do it most of the time. I'm not exactly sure.
Think about that for a second. He publicly framed another creator as part of some dangerous political pipeline, while also admitting that he was not very familiar with that creator's actual videos. It's the kind of logic that would have been perfect material for an old Content Cop episode. The backlash from Ian's comments was immediate. Fans of both creators started pointing out how bizarre the accusations sounded. Many people also noticed that Charlie himself had never done anything to provoke this situation. This is jealous iDubbbz. It's not about holding them accountable, it's about them having more views than him. He used to be the golden boy, and he threw that all away. By choice, I might add. Which makes the entire situation feel less like a disagreement and more like unnecessary self-sabotage. Because from a purely strategic standpoint, Charlie was exactly the type of creator Ian should have stayed on good terms with. He runs one of the largest commentary channels on the platform, consistently pulls millions of views, and tends to stay out of pointless feuds unless someone directly drags him into one. Having someone like that in your corner, or at least on neutral ground, is valuable when your reputation online is already shaky. Instead, Ian decided to frame him as part of a larger problem with internet culture. Another thing that made the situation even more awkward was the way Ian talked about his own past during these conversations. Over the last few years, he has repeatedly described his earlier content as cruel or harmful. He often frames the old era of his channels like it was some kind of moral failure. That perspective is very different from how most viewers remember it. Back in the mid-2010s, edgy commentary was basically the norm on YouTube. A huge portion of the platform operated on shock humor and exaggerated criticism. Ian's videos fit perfectly into that environment. Whether people loved or hated them, they were clearly meant as entertainment rather than serious political messaging. But when Ian talks about that era today, he sometimes suggests those videos were part of a much darker culture. And by doing that, he ends up indirectly accusing many of the same viewers who supported him back then. It creates a strange dynamic where Ian seems frustrated with the very audience that helped build his career in the first place. And that frustration sometimes spills into how he talks about other creators. Instead of building new alliances or repairing old relationships, he keeps drifting into arguments that accomplish very little. The conflict with Charlie is a perfect example of this pattern. It started with a questionable claim, escalated into public criticism, and ultimately damaged a relationship that never needed to be damaged. And the saddest part is how avoidable it all was. Ian did not expose a major scandal. He did not uncover some hidden hypocrisy. He simply decided that another creator represented a problem with the internet, even though he admitted he was not very familiar with that creator's work. Instead of focusing on rebuilding his channel, he kept wandering into debates that only made his situation worse. The old iDubbbz built his reputation by dissecting other people's mistakes. Now, he keeps making the same kind of mistakes that his old audience instantly recognizes. And burning a completely unnecessary bridge with Charlie might be one of the clearest examples yet. If there's one golden rule of content creation, it's this: never feed the trolls. Most creators understand this pretty quickly. If you want something to disappear, the worst thing you can do is shine a spotlight on it. The moment you start arguing with random people online, you turn a tiny comment into a full-blown spectacle. One of the easiest ways to spot a lolcow is watching them do this exact thing. Scroll through their replies and you'll see them arguing with accounts that have 0 likes, 0 engagement, and 0 relevance. Completely random comments that nobody would have ever noticed, but they just cannot stop themselves. What makes this especially strange is that Ian actually seemed to understand this years ago. Back in the early days of his channel, he knew how internet culture worked. He knew that attention is the only currency that matters online. Somewhere along the way, that knowledge completely vanished.
Hassan is a lolcow, and that removed any amount of what is this out of my brain. I'm like, oh, they don't like progressive people.
A few months after the Creator Clash disaster, he proved it by uploading a response video where he directly addressed people making fun of him. The video was meant to push back against critics and also call out his former boxing coach, Mike Briggs. But the strangest part of the entire video was how much time he spent talking about 2 creators named Andy Warski and PPP. They host a show called Kino Casino, where they regularly make fun of Ian and Anissa. For most of the video, Ian tries to clap back at them and score points against their arguments. The problem is the moment he acknowledged them, he already lost. When you respond to people whose entire goal is getting a reaction out of you, you are giving them exactly what they wanted. Even the top comments on his video pointed this out. Dude fed the trolls, Lamau. Around the same time, Ian also went live on Twitch to watch the interview where his former coach spoke about working with him. During the stream, Ian added a lie counter in the corner of the screen and kept increasing it whenever he thought the coach said something untrue. While this was happening, Anissa was in the chat, implying that the coach had potentially been sexually harassing her, reading, "He wouldn't stop hugging me. It was really upsetting. I kept trying to push him off, and he wouldn't. It made me feel really embarrassed, and then he wouldn't let me leave. He kept hugging me, and I was trying to push him off, and I cried." Later on, the coach went back on the H3 podcast and explained his side of the story. According to him, the situation happened during a moment when Anissa was upset at the gym because of the music that was playing. He said he gave her a hug because she was crying and he wanted to check on her and see what was wrong.
I can move on from shit. They can't. So she's crying about it. I go give her a hug because I'm like, hey, I'm sorry that you're crying. I didn't hug her to the point where she started crying. I felt bad, so I gave her a hug.
She was crying.
And I said, yeah, she was bawling. So
that's a crazy malicious lie. The way she told that story is nuts. She's crying from the ox thing, and then she's making it sound like she's crying because you're like squeezing her and not letting her go.
But that, literally, because that makes no fucking sense.
It doesn't.
Why would I just be squeezing her? Like, she disgusts me. She's always disgusted me. Her mind is disgusting.
By the time Ian's response video dropped, the hosts of Kino Casino were thrilled. The moment they realized he made an entire segment about them, they celebrated. They ran a long stream reacting to the video, reportedly making about $10,000 during the broadcast. And at one point, they even had more live viewers than XQC.
Oh, you slammed that, yo. This.
From there, the whole thing turned into a back and forth that lasted for weeks. But the bigger takeaway is pretty simple. The continued downfall and humiliation of Ian and Anissa is largely self-inflicted. Situation after situation keeps getting worse because they cannot resist responding to every jab, every troll, and every bait attempt thrown their way. If they ignored it, most of this stuff would disappear within a day. Instead, they keep feeding it. Despite cutting almost every possible relationship in the commentary space, you would think Ian might try to stay neutral for a while, but strangely enough, there is one major creator he seems very interested in staying close to, and that's Hassan Piker. This became especially obvious during Hassan's shock collar controversy. Instead of staying out of it, Anissa jumped onto Twitter and started firing off tweets defending Hassan. Just because Ethan's a horrible dog owner and can't train his dogs worth doesn't mean other people are using shock collars. I've met Kaya. I saw Kaya while Hassan was streaming. She never had a shock collar on. She was good at her place command, but that's very easily accomplished with positive reinforcement. I would be very, very surprised if this was actually Kaya reacting to a shock collar. Not long after that, Ian echoed a similar tone while talking about the situation on stream.
It's Hassan's life. Hassan can, like, even if he was using a shock collar, like, literally, like, there's so many people using, not even shock collar, they call it an e-collar, right? Because that's, like, there's so much playing around with words as well that happen.
Now, whatever you think about Hassan and the whole dog controversy really isn't the main point here. The bigger thing to notice is how eager Ian and Anissa were to jump in and defend him. And when you zoom out a little, it starts to look like part of a much larger pattern. Over the last couple of years, Hassan has become one of the few large creators Ian seems genuinely interested in associating with. They have appeared together on streams several times. Ian has spoken positively about Hassan during conversations about politics and internet culture, and when Ian released his content cop targeting Ethan Klein, the opening segment of the video was practically a tribute to Hassan. Despite all the praise and public defense, Hassan is not even subscribed to Ian's channel on YouTube. It is one of those small details that people noticed almost immediately once fans started looking into their interactions, and that is where the situation starts to feel a little awkward, because the level of support Ian and Anissa showed towards Hassan sometimes goes beyond casual agreement. It often looks more like they are actively trying to align themselves with his audience and his political circle. One example that sparked a lot of discussion online involved the topic of Iran. For people who do not watch Hassan regularly, the easiest way to summarize his perspective is that he is extremely critical of the United States.
America deserved 9/11, dude. I'm saying it.
And often sympathetic towards countries that are typically viewed as adversaries by American media. Iran is one of those countries.
Lofi?
Yeah, he said he's been watching it since he was a kid.
No way!
Yeah.
That's sick. Yes, that's fire.
Ian and Anissa have clearly made note of this, and this is what led to the controversy that got them both into hot water. During a stream, Ian was watching a clip from the reality show 90 Day Fiancé. The scene featured an Iranian man named Moti, who had recently come to the United States. In the clip, he was describing the culture shock he felt after arriving in America. At one point, he talks about how strange it feels to see people singing, dancing, and celebrating openly in public. He explains that back in Iran, doing something like that could actually get you into trouble.
People singing and dancing like on the street, it just feels weird because if you do that in Iran, like they can arrest you. You know that?
For that?
Like this, like it's a little eye rolly. Like why are you presenting it like it feels like he's paid to do propaganda for
the U.S.
Yeah,
like the U.S. Like,
so this is so strange to me because
I'm seeing everyone having such a good time here, being so free.
And laughing.
But in Iran, you would be arrested on the spot for having any sort of joy.
If you are ever feeling joy, they would arrest you in Tehran, Iran.
For most viewers, the moment was pretty straightforward. It was someone describing the difference between living in Iran and living in the United States. But Ian and Anissa immediately assumed the guy was exaggerating or performing for the camera, and that the whole thing sounded like propaganda for America. That was the beginning of the problem, because what Moti was saying was not some wild claim that came out of nowhere. Iran has a long history of restrictions on public behavior. Dancing in public has led to arrests before. Social media videos showing people dancing have gotten people detained. There have even been cases where people were punished for simply posting dance videos online. But instead of checking any of that, Ian treated the entire story like it was ridiculous. The same thing happened when the conversation shifted to dogs. Moti mentioned that in some places in Iran, walking a dog in public is also illegal. Instead of looking into it, Ian immediately dismissed the claim again. He basically said that there was no way that could be real.
You can't have your dog
on a leash?
even on a leash.
But where are you supposed to keep it?
I don't know, at home?
Okay, so you don't know.
Everything has changed.
Keep this in mind, this information was extremely easy to verify. Anyone watching the stream could open a browser tab and find reports about cities in Iran restricting dog walking in public spaces. There are even stories of people being stopped by police for transporting dogs in their cars. Later on, Moti would actually confirm something similar during an interview. He talked about being pulled over before because a dog was in the vehicle he was riding in. So the situation that Ian was mocking had literally happened to him, but the stream kept moving forwards, and the tone never changed. Ian continued reacting to the clip like it was some over-the-top piece of propaganda designed to praise America. At one point, Moti explained that he has to be careful with what he says about Iran because his family still lives there. That should have been a pretty serious moment. Instead, Ian responded with sarcasm. He joked about the idea that the Iranian government would somehow come after him for speaking out.
You can speak freely here. You're an American. Are you shit? But they're going to come find me and they're going to drone strike me. The Iranian government will drone strike me if I say mean things.
Listen, he's planning on going back, potentially, okay? And if he wants to travel back, he's got to be careful with what he says.
Bro.
Once again, it's not hard to research that people who criticize the Iranian government have faced serious consequences before, with some even being executed, especially if they still have family living inside the country. Once this clip circulated around, it became very notorious very fast, rising to the top of livestream fails. Not long after that, Moti's fiance from the show posted a message online, seemingly calling out Ian and Anissa who mocked his story. Flashback to when so many of you mocked my husband and called him a liar. Most of these people who hadn't lived there in years or ever, telling him his reality wasn't real. I remember him reading it, hearing it, seeing it. He kept quiet, but I took note. My husband has always spoken to me with respect about the heart of Iran, while also being vocal about the injustice there. That's what he actually wanted you to see, but unfortunately many didn't. Still, you said, it's not like that. People live freely. You're lying. Can you hear them now? The chanting, the screaming, the deaths. This is the reality you mocked. Many of you owed him an apology, but that's not what we need right now. Take 5 seconds to share something about Iran. If you call yourself a friend while turning away from what's happening in Iran, you are not a friend of mine. When Ian saw the post, he tried to brush it off. He argued that the message was not directed at him specifically, and claimed it was just a general statement about rude viewers.
Tiddlywink says, do you know the wife of the Iranian man responded to you and Anissa? She didn't respond to me and Anissa specifically. She was putting out a statement to people who were being rude or judgmental to her and her husband.
The post literally included screenshots from the stream where they were making fun of Moti, just with a clown emoji that covered Ian's face. It was about as direct as you can get without tagging someone by name. After these clips were passed around, Ethan Klein would use this to his advantage and actually get an interview with Moti just in case it wasn't clear enough. And he himself confirms that his fiance was talking about Ian and Anissa.
And my wife was just like
directly talking about them because you know.
iDubbbz is a creator who built his career on criticizing misinformation and ended up dismissing someone's lived experience without doing even basic research first. The entire controversy could have been avoided with about 30 seconds on a search engine, but instead, it turned into another moment where Ian managed to create a problem that did not need to exist in the first place. After burning through what feels like half the commentary community, Ian seems to have landed on a new strategy. If the old YouTube connections are gone, then maybe streaming will fix the problem. So he pivoted to Twitch. Unfortunately for him, the results have been pretty rough. Right now, his average live viewership sits around 135 viewers, which is a brutal number when you remember that this is a creator who used to pull tens of millions of views per upload. Viewers have also estimated, based on his Twitch subscriber count, that he is making roughly 18.5k a year from Twitch, which is below minimum wage. On top of that, most of the growth metrics around the channel are moving in the wrong direction. Subscriber numbers are slipping, and the overall trend is negative. But the numbers are only part of the problem. Streaming introduces a completely different dynamic compared to edited YouTube videos. When you upload a video, you can cut things out, you can redo lines, and if something embarrassing happens, it never sees the light of day. Live streaming does not work like that at all. When something awkward happens on stream, it gets clipped instantly and lives on the internet forever. And that has not exactly worked in Ian's favor. A huge portion of the clips circulating from his streams involve uncomfortable moments with Anissa. There are dozens of them at this point, and a lot of them follow the same pattern. Anissa says something that clearly irritates Ian, and you can see the reaction on his face in real time. One clip in particular gets shared constantly. During the stream, Anissa starts talking about how she thinks Ian struggles to appeal to straight women. The moment she says it, you can hear the shift in his tone. He gets visibly irritated and tries to brush it off, but the damage is already done because the clip is now circulating everywhere.
I'm just gonna let it play and stand back.
Yeah, I think if you shaved the mustache and trimmed up the mullet, I think you would appeal to gay and bisexual men, mostly.
Gay and bisexual men, that would be my strategy.
No, and bisexual women. I think actually your strongest demographic is bisexual women right now, as is.
Okay.
Like, I actually don't think there's a world
where I appeal to straight women.
You could appeal to straight women.
I think you're right. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. That lines up with my history.
Appealing to like straight women, specifically straight women, I think would be, it's just not, your vibe is not, it doesn't really.
Then there is another moment where Anissa talks about not wanting to have his children because of his genetics. This time though, it wasn't even a live stream moment clipped before it got taken down. This was directly from their pre-recorded podcast.
I find it fascinating because like if I look at you, even in like the viewfinder, extremely masculine chin, which is also why I like the buzz cut, because it like emphasizes your chin and your like heavy brow. Like I would argue you have one of the most, part of the reason why I don't want to have a child with you is because I'm terrified if we have a girl that she's gonna have all your masculine features.
Isn't that interesting? I think about that a lot.
Yeah, I have never met somebody who has such an eagle face. Like, you have a very strong brow, which is very attractive on men. To be honest, there's a lot of attractive women that have that as well, like Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
But combined with me, I think the combination would be bad for a woman.
I think you're tripping.
I don't know.
And of course, there are the moments that almost feel surreal, like Ian appearing on stream in a dragon VTuber avatar while begging for viewers to subscribe.
Please, I need your subs. Look at this, the Denny's patrons. They're rapidly declining. We need your subs. We need them now!
At this point, there are so many clips floating around that it is almost impossible to keep track of them all. Every stream seems to generate another batch of awkward moments that get chopped up and reposted across social media. But recently, something even stranger happened. After mostly staying in the background during Ian's streams, Anissa suddenly decided to start streaming again herself. She went live on her own channel and essentially rebooted her old content. For people who only know her from the last last few years of YouTube drama that might seem random. But before she became widely known as Ian's partner, Anissa actually built her own presence online as a streamer who talked about internet drama. What really surprised people though was how she handled the stream. If you've watched Ian's Twitch streams, you probably know how the moderation usually works. Any kind of criticism in chat gets wiped out almost instantly. Even mild pushback can get someone banned within seconds. The chat is heavily controlled and usually pretty quiet as a result. Anissa's stream, however, looked completely different. Instead of banning critics, she actually interacted with them. Trolls were posting questions in chat and she was responding to them directly. People started bringing up internet drama, asking about different personalities, and instead of shutting down the conversation, she leaned into it. Names like Andy Warski and Ethan Ralph started popping up in chat, along with references to the show Kino Casino. Instead of dodging the topic, Anissa bantered with viewers. At one point, she even bantered with people about how she was mind-controlling Ian.
When are you going to divorce Ian so he can go back to his old self? Also, I have 2 more. Hey man, I'm sorry. He's forever my victim. I put like 5 milligrams of lead to keep him docile. It's never happening. And it's specifically because I enjoy you guys having your childhood hero ripped away from you. Like I get a lot of joy from your life being disrupted.
Even people who normally dislike Anissa admitted the stream felt more entertaining than most of the recent iDubbbz streams. The chat was active, the conversations felt more natural, and the whole thing had a chaotic energy that viewers found refreshing. It highlights one of the biggest issues with Ian's current approach to streaming. When everything is tightly controlled and criticism is instantly removed, the stream starts to feel lifeless. Viewers notice that. Meanwhile, the one stream where the chat is allowed to be messy and unpredictable ends up generating more interest than the carefully moderated ones. From the outside looking in, it's honestly hard to understand how Ian and Anissa ended up in the position they're in right now. But when you actually break it down, the process is pretty simple. It just happens step by step. The first step is destroying every positive connection you have. Friends, collaborators, creators who used to defend you, it doesn't really matter why. Ego, pride, stubbornness, whatever the reason is, the end result is the same. Bridges get torched, and the circle around you gets smaller and smaller. You could see this happen pretty clearly with the fallout around the creator clash situation. Step 2 is constantly feeding the trolls, and I mean constantly. Instead of ignoring obvious bait, you respond to everything. Big criticism, small criticism, random comments with 2 likes sitting at the bottom of a thread, nothing goes unanswered. Every negative post gets attention. Every jab gets a response. Once you run out of people to burn bridges with, the next move is attaching yourself to someone much bigger, preferably a streamer with a huge audience. Someone like Hassan Piker. One side clearly wants the connection a lot more than the other, and when the larger creator barely acknowledges it, the whole thing starts to become pretty one-sided. Then you reach the final step of the cycle, streaming constantly to a heavily moderated chat where anyone even slightly critical gets removed. At the same time, you keep saying that everyone on the internet is obsessed with you, and that is basically where things are now. Ian keeps sliding deeper into the spiral because he never really steps away from it. The cycle just keeps repeating over and over again. The problem is that people are starting to lose interest in the spectacle. The constant humiliations that once fueled clips and discussions online are starting to feel repetitive, and the numbers are showing it. Even after winning LOLCAL of the year, views are dropping, especially on the live streams. You know things are getting rough when the conversation suddenly shifts to something like boxing Sam Hyde if he gains enough weight.
Will you ever box again? Yeah, you know, I was thinking about that. And I think once I'm like comfortably in the 200 to 210 pound range, and I've been able to maintain that for like, I don't know, 6 months or something, I think I'll box Sam Hyde. I need to get some sort of revenge
A few years ago, Ian would not even bring up Sam Hyde's name. Just mentioning him would bring back an entire wave of controversy he clearly wanted to avoid. Now, it feels like the kind of headline that has to be thrown out there just to get people talking again. And that's the real problem with this whole situation. When the attention starts fading, the temptation to create bigger and louder moments gets stronger. Every new statement has to be more dramatic than the last just to keep the cycle going. It turns into an endless spiral where the only real exit would be stepping away from the chaos entirely. Whether Ian ever decides to do that is another question, because at this point, the pattern has been repeating for a long time, and patterns like that usually do not break on their own. But iDubbbz is not the only internet veteran who turned his own reputation into a slow-motion car crash. Boogie2988, aka Steve Williams, is currently undergoing the biggest downfall of his career.
No, I don't! I'll destroy mine all day, and my dad is dead, and my mom is dead. I'll talk about those pieces till they fucking rot.
Yeah, but Chad and Desi aren't dead.
He's on the verge of bankruptcy.
I think my net worth is zero. Once you pull the equity out of the house, get rid of the house debt, sell off all my collectibles, and pay off all my debts, I think that puts me at $0.
And has alienated almost his entire audience through his lies, scams, and manipulative behavior.
Like I told you, I spent the last 2 years getting treated for it. I've been told by my doctor for the last 2 years.
It's fine, Boogie. Just admit it's not on the portal.
It's not on there. I told you this. I have to do the verifying test.
The man who was once considered the Mr. Rogers of the internet and regularly amazed fans with his down-to-earth and positive personality.
Of my size, regardless of the things that I have endured, inflicted upon myself, and have been inflicted upon me. And they ask me why I can be happy, why I can be soft when the world has tried to make me hard. I think the answer to that question is very simple. And what makes me different from a lot of people that might be in the same predicament or same situations that I've been in is that I've maintained hope.
The majority of the money we make goes into the bank. We do not live very large by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, obviously, I'm large, but...
Boogie, you make me feel human. Thank you for existing. Thank you, Boogie. That was very powerful. You're an inspiration to us all. And you're an awesome human, Boogie. Thanks for making this video. Until he threw it all away in the pursuit of women, fame, and money.
You're on a lot of medicine, Boogie. Is any of those medicines an SSRI?
Go f yourself. I will divulge no more medical information to any of you motherfuckers.
This is, you ain't got to tell me what it is. Like, there's a bevy of medicine.
But Boogie wasn't always the hateable villain that he is today. He's been around since 2006, when YouTube was dominated by homemade vlogs and funny cat videos. At the beginning of his career, Boogie was known as the overweight but lovable nerdy guy, who most people found charming because he openly embraced his flaws and didn't shy away from making fun of himself. For my younger viewers, he was kind of like the queso of early YouTube. When he wasn't playing the over-the-top Fat Francis character, Boogie would engage with his audience by sharing details about his personal life, childhood, and financial situation.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again to the power of the internet. You may not know me as Boogie2988. You may know me as my character Francis, who gets really angry all the time and breaks stuff, but that's okay. I'm just glad you know me at all. A lot of people have asked me to draw my life story, and it's kind of sad, but I'd like to do that for you now.
His advice about money in particular was a breath of fresh air for his subs, who found him relatable and loved how responsible he was with his finances.
I want to remind you that this is a brand new medium that is very, very lucrative. And you could be as successful as me, you could be as successful as some of the top tier YouTubers who are making millions of dollars. You too could be bringing $200,000 or $300,000 a year, like FalsiTube, or sorry, a month, like FalsiTube, and spend it on whatever the hell you want.
This would allow him to slowly grow his channel, Patreon, and unlock a new source of income through Twitch when it launched in 2011.
I mean, that's one. Oh shit! Oh shit!
He was even named 2016's Trending Gamer of the Year.
And the Trending Gamer, the Game Award goes to Boogie2988.
By 2017, Boogie had broken through the 4 million subscribers mark on YouTube and even earned enough money to pay for his weight loss surgery.
Holy moly. So this is going to be a very short video to let you guys know that I'm home from surgery, that everything went well, and tell you a few stories surrounding the experience.
This was a milestone moment for both him and his community, who had supported him unconditionally up until this point. Unfortunately, this surgery would also mark the start of Boogie's downfall. Not long after the surgery, Boogie announced splitting up from his wife through a video titled, "It's true. Wife and I are getting a divorce. Here's what's next." In the video, he explained how in the lead up to surgery, their marriage was already in a rough spot, while admitting that his anxiety disorder was the real problem.
Our marriage was far from perfect. Me and my wife had one major issue that was persistent throughout the entire marriage, and that was my anxiety disorder, my clinically diagnosed PTSD.
Man, I probably should never even say this publicly, but I think she'd forgive me, and even if she doesn't, we're divorced now, so I don't have to worry about it. We're in a loop in which my anxiety was so bad that she was kind of walking on eggshells all the time because she was afraid of scaring me, upsetting me, hurting me. And the way she reacted to my anxiety was very frequently with fight or flight. And for her, that mostly meant fight.
His wife had wanted to separate for a long time, but just was waiting for him to get healthier. And once he started losing weight, she felt it was finally the right time to initiate the divorce.
Towards the middle of October, she told me that she was thinking about separating now that I was out of the surgery and now that I was nice and healthy. We talked about it and decided that she should take a break in November, which she did. She was gone for about 3 weeks, and about 2 weeks into that, she called up and said that she had made her decision, that she wanted things to be a more permanent change, and that we should start moving in that direction.
According to Boogie, the divorce was amicable, with both sides agreeing to part ways peacefully. His wife even offered to take less than 50% of his assets.
But one day we're talking about money, and I'm like, "What do you want?" She's like, "I want what's fair."
She said, "I want."
She's like, "I want what's fair. I want enough to where I know I'm going to be taken care of for a good while. That's all I worry about." And I'm like, "Okay." So she gave me a number, and I'm like, "But that's not half." And she's like,
What do you mean it's not half?
It wasn't half of what we were worth.
It was less.
It was less.
But despite the mutual understanding, the legal system in the US still required Boogie to give her half of everything he owned.
Yeah, that's how it works in Arkansas, and so like she's legally entitled to 50%.
At first, Boogie seemed to come to terms with how things played out, accepting the situation for what it was. However, it didn't take long for the cracks to show. Fans who watched his video after the divorce could tell something had shifted. What was once Boogie's wholesome and helpful advice to viewers began to feel like the start of a downward spiral, one that he never truly recovered from. The rambling videos that had once focused on helping his audience now seemed more like a cry for help. Over time, these videos became an outlet for him to seek sympathy for his struggles with depression and anxiety. Despite all of this, Boogie managed to retain much of his audience, who still believed in his potential to bounce back and return to the happy, healthier version of himself. It even seemed like Boogie himself had realized how bad things had gotten, and was ready to put in the effort to revive his channel.
First off, let's say 2018, as we've talked about, was one of the roughest years of my life, and it really showed here on the channel. It shows the content that I produced. Sometimes I was super engaged, sometimes I wasn't. Sometimes the Francis stuff was incredible, sometimes it was miserable. Sometimes I would just I didn't feel like making a video, so I would make a rambling video, and I would just complain and whine and just be miserable. And that's the person I was in 2018.
After posting the last video about his divorce in October 2018, Boogie followed up with another video titled State of the Channel in 2019. In this video, he openly admitted that his storytime rambling videos had turned into a way to gain sympathy, and that the pity party needed to end.
Because sharing who and what I am has been counterproductive in quite a bit in the last year or so. Mostly when it comes to the mental issues, the anxiety, the depression, stuff like that. The reason being is because these days there's a more negative impact about that stuff.
While he seemed enthusiastic about improving his content, it was too late. His subscriber count had already begun to steadily decline, and then another incident occurred that would permanently damage his reputation. During his divorce proceedings, Boogie began dating a woman named Lucy. They met on the controversial dating site Seeking.com, a platform designed to connect sugar daddies with sugar babies, offering companionship or more in exchange for monetary compensation. At first, Boogie denied any involvement in the sugar baby arrangement, claiming, also, treating her nice and being cool to her and being a good, successful, happy person that she could be attracted to also works. It's a lot cheaper too. But he would eventually be outed as a liar when his account on Seeking was uncovered a short while later after this tweet. This discovery forced Boogie to come clean once and for all, using an alt account named Uberwolf on his own subreddit. But the drama didn't end there. About 6 months after the divorce was filed, Lucy released a video sharing her side of the story, which she posted on Boogie's subreddit. According to her, the relationship was a far from pleasant experience, describing him as an asshole.
So I dated a YouTuber, and for his sake, I'm just gonna call him asshole.
She accused him of verbally abusing her whenever she wanted to leave him, and mentioned how he didn't even pay for her services like he was supposed to.
It would turn into an argument every time I tried to leave. Why are you trying to leave me? You know I need somebody right now. Blah, 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 blah. You know, I'd wait for him to finish up doing his work and whatever, and pretty much I was not making any income. I was scraping to get by, to be honest with you. Like, I'd ask him, hey, can I put some money into my bank account so I wouldn't get an overdraft? Okay, well, here's, you know, 20 bucks. Cool. So I would do that, and then, you know, I have bills to pay.
In response to this backlash, Boogie decided to clear the air by going on Keemstar's show Drama Alert and presenting his own version of the event.
The only way she can make money is if she's at home doing her cam girl stuff, right? And that you wouldn't like let her leave the house. Is that true?
But she didn't live here. Like she lives at home where she has her own home.
He claimed that Lucy was his girlfriend and a gold digger, not a sugar baby he hired from Seeking.com.
It sounds like in the video that she's like low on money. Has she been asking you for money?
Man, I don't feel comfortable talking about anything, but you know, she's a girl who's always needed a little help from time to time, you know, and I don't know, I don't know what to say about that.
So for those who won't see it on Drama Alert, I'll put it here. Final word on this. We dated 10 weeks. It didn't work out. She had bad feelings about it, which she is entitled to have. Sorry it worked out that way. Nothing but love for her. Go and watch and support her. Keemstar's approach throughout the interview was notably neutral, allowing Boogie to present his narrative with minimal pushback. As a result, some viewers felt this gave Boogie the opportunity to shape the story in his favor, without being thoroughly questioned.
Do you think that maybe she is taking advantage of you being a big YouTuber or whatever?
Man.
However, for many, Boogie's continued denial of meeting Lucy through Seeking.com only reinforced doubts about his honesty. While this didn't cause an immediate decline in his channel's popularity, it did lead some fans to view him as an unreliable narrator. That was until another bombshell about Boogie would drop that left him scrambling to defend himself. Just 3 days after Boogie uploaded his State of the Channel in 2019 video, a 5,000-word mega thread was posted on a subreddit by an anonymous user titled "The Hidden Truth Boogie Doesn't Want You to Know. Criticism Mega Thread." It basically called him out for being a hypocrite and the opposite of the nice guy who was pretending to be for his audience. One major criticism was Boogie's disturbing behavior on stream, which contrasted sharply with his YouTube persona. In one specific incident, Boogie's Twitch was being critiqued by a YouTuber, Actual Jake, and his partner. Boogie responded to this by jumping on the call with them and threatening to send his dog to the pound.
I only block people who call me names. And if you can prove to me,
If it's not
the reason I blocked you is that you called me no names this summer, if you can prove to me you showed me no names this summer, I will literally take Sam to the pound. I will literally take him to the pound and find him a new home. I swear.
Please don't do that. What?
Yeah, please don't do that. We love animals too much.
I will find. No, I'm saying I will find him a new home. I will find him. A new home.
Keep your dog.
Keep your dog, please.
I want you to keep your dog.
The mega thread also highlighted some of Boogie's more troubling statements, including 1. His shocking claim that good things came from the Holocaust.
And so the third book was on the Holocaust. I don't remember the name of it. And so I'm reading the book, and here's something I found fascinating in this book. It's so depressing, this book. But they were talking about the Japanese experiments. I do remember them doing open heart surgeries on people that didn't need open heart surgeries, like some really crazy shit. And so what I found out from this book is a lot of Nazi scientists and doctors were given asylum in the United States in exchange for the knowledge they had possessed. I didn't know that. You know, but if you think about it, a lot of some good came from all of that, in that health science was advanced many, many years.
2. Suggesting that a victim of domestic abuse should be hanged, and 3. Using the threat of to guilt trip his fans into supporting him.
I'm hoping when I get too old, I just get assisted medical suicide rather than go that way than an agonizing death. Yeah, I hear you. I think when the time comes, I'm gonna have no problem pulling the trigger or Like once I fully given up hope, was fully ready to go. Once the internet has forgotten about me and you guys you don't need me anymore and I'm not needed around anymore. And if I haven't found a wife and I haven't had kids or something like that, and I haven't had the life that I, wanted for myself, and I'm just miserable and alone, I don't think I'll have any problem pulling the trigger.
But while the thread was damning for people who read it, it was still posted to a fairly lesser-known subreddit, r/Sam and Tolkien, and it likely would have never reached the majority of Boogie's fans if he didn't broadcast it to his audience. But Boogie being Boogie, he couldn't resist on going on a rant about the entire subreddit, accusing them of being out to get him for the past 3 years.
This subreddit has been actively attacking me and going through everything I've ever said and ever done on the internet for the last 3 years.
Doing this only fueled his critics further, turning Boogie's once overwhelmingly positive comment section back in 2017 into a wall of hate and criticism. His subscriber count also took a major hit, with Boogie losing over 100,000 subscribers in just 4 months. At this point, unable to handle the mounting criticism, Boogie released a video titled, "Taking a Break, I Give Up, You Guys Win." During the video, he announced that he would be taking a break from YouTube to focus on his mental health.
And I'm really anxious, and I'm really nervous. So I thought I should get away for a little while.
Unfortunately, this only worsened things for his channel, as viewers began to realize that Boogie had lost the passion for creating content, and was struggling to come up with new ideas to grow his audience. Even after returning from his quote mental health break, Boogie's posts on his channel became more sporadic, and his views reflected that, dropping from more than 10 million views per month in January 2018 to just over 2 million views per month in October 2019. And by the start of 2020, his channel, which used to provide some of the most uplifting and wholesome content on YouTube, had devolved into a platform for Boogie to complain and apologize for his life choices. But this didn't seem to matter to him, as his spending habits were still as reckless as ever. Midway through the decline in viewership on his channel, Boogie decided to buy a $100,000 Tesla X. At first, he was ecstatic about buying his dream car, with a tweet reading, "I legit just bought a Tesla. This is my first new car in my lifetime. I am shaking baked, so excited." But soon after, reality set in. Boogie admitted in a tweet reading, "So sitting here, realizing I just bought a car I can barely afford." He then tried to put a positive spin on things by saying, "You would think my anxiety would be going nuts. It isn't. I'm feeling confident that I can work harder every day and use that car and debt as an inspiration to create better content." However, his followers weren't convinced by this newfound optimism, with one replying, "Roundabout way to find confidence, but okay." Later, talking about the story of the purchase on stream, Boogie had a full meltdown, confessing that he couldn't afford the Tesla he had just purchased.
Saying, "Oh my God, I just put myself $100,000 in debt. My car payment's $1,700 a month. That's more money than I make on Twitch. Oh God, that's more money than I make that's like half of my YouTube ad revenue this month. Oh God. Oh God, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Why did I do this? Why did I put myself in $100,000 into debt?"
He would then turn to his viewers and, in classic Boogie style, try to manipulate them into helping him pay for his $100,000 Tesla.
So I tweeted out that I was not going to be able to afford this car.
Reddit and Twitter lost their fucking minds. Oh, are you trying to manipulate people into giving you money?
The answer is yes. Give me some money. If you guys want to help me pay for my Tesla, please go ahead and dig deep. I sure would like a free fucking Tesla. Reach down in your pockets and give me $100,000 tonight.
Things then turned from bad to worse when Boogie mentioned that he hadn't even paid off the mortgage on his house yet.
I still owe $200,000 in the house.
All this coming from a man who used to preach about not, quote, living large, and spending most of his money on making better content for his viewers.
The majority of the money we make goes into the bank. We do not live very large by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, obviously, I'm large, but we do not spend a grotesque amount of money.
Meanwhile, Boogie's downfall continued, and over the next year, his Patreon took a significant hit, with his membership numbers halving as he took even longer breaks from both YouTube and Twitch. But Boogie's efforts to ruin his own reputation didn't stop there, as he would end up committing a serious crime in the next few months. Now, Boogie has faced criticism and trolling throughout his career, which has often resulted in heated exchanges with his detractors. His frequent attempts to respond, whether through Twitter, Reddit, or his own videos, usually just ended up making matters worse. One of the most notorious situations occurred between 2020 and early 2021, when Boogie clashed with a disgraced YouTuber, Frank Hassel. Hassel, who had been banned from YouTube for harassing other creators.
Are you trans or something? Oh, really? Oh, I'm sorry. Can I walk with you?
No, thank you.
Oh, why?
Because I would not like that.
Oh, okay. Where are you going? Are you going somewhere?
Can you please leave me alone?
Huh?
Please leave me
Oh,
alone.
I'm sorry. Are you okay?
Frank blamed Boogie for his ban and publicly declared war against him on Twitter. Boogie initially tried to defuse the situation by privately messaging him, hoping to settle things without further escalation.
If you do plan harm, just leave my friends and my dog out of it. You are welcome to kill me. We should make a video together where I give you a pink belly until your stomach has friction burns. I would be glad to do that as long as you promise you don't mean me or my family any harm. I don't know if you're actually crazy or just pulling some Andy Kaufman shtick, but if it's the latter, I would be glad to participate in. If it's alright, my life is awful enough without your help. So I would appreciate it if you can maybe just let me suffer without it. I get that I am an easy target, but if you have any empathy at all, dude, pick another. I don't. I'm a sociopath. I'm demented and sick.
However, when this didn't work, Keemstar invited both Boogie and Hassel onto Drama Alert to settle their differences on air.
At another YouTuber. Now, I want to explain how we got there, right? There is this YouTuber called Frank Hassel. Frank Hassel makes the type of content where he just goes up to random people on the street with a GoPro on his head and he starts harassing them. Recently, Frank's channel has been banned off of YouTube and he is blaming Boogie298 for it. He's been saying for months that he is going to catch Boogie in public and harass him in public.
Unfortunately, the interview spiraled out of control. Rather than resolving the conflict, both parties began issuing death threats, with each daring the other to quote, "try it." Unfortunately, I can't actually play the audio due to it containing multiple death threats and abusive language.
I had both of them on for an interview. Quite frankly, Boogie looks bad. He's threatening Frank's life if he shows up. And I didn't want to put that interview out because, you know, I was afraid that people would cause, this interview would cause people to harass and bully Boogie more.
The feud reached its breaking point when on September the 28th, 2020, Frank Hassel took things from the virtual world into the real world. He posted on Twitter that he had arrived in Fayetteville, Arkansas, Boogie's hometown, with the clear intention of confronting him face to face.
Come on, you fucking pussy, what's the deal?
True to his word, Hassel went to Boogie's house later that day, fully prepared for a confrontation. Boogie, feeling threatened, responded by pulling out a firearm and firing a quote warning shot in Hassel's direction.
Where's the gun at, you fat f***? Open fire!
You fat f***. Oh my god. Is this real? Is this guy gonna kill me?
Yes.
This was incredibly dangerous, considering there was a school in Boogie's neighborhood and the bullet could have landed there. As you can imagine, the moment went viral on both YouTube and Twitter, which alerted authorities of the situation. And on the 11th of May 2021, just a few months after the event, the authorities put out a warrant for Boogie's arrest. The following day, Boogie turned himself into the police and was later released on the 1st of June 2021, following processing and bail. While all of this was happening, Boogie's financial situation was only worsening. He was already facing mounting debt, and he now had to dip into his funds to cover the legal fees as well. However, things took an unexpected turn when Boogie posted a video titled "I am rich, how crypto made me rich," where he claimed that a recent cryptocurrency investment had turned his fortunes around. It looked like Boogie's financial troubles were finally over, but as we would later find out, this was only the beginning of a much larger issue. Boogie's gamble in the volatile world of crypto would ultimately dig him into a deeper financial hole. In the "I am rich" video, Boogie explained that he had made a risky bet.
I basically took every dime I had in liquid funds and invested it in a huge gamble.
By investing most of his liquid earnings into crypto, and the gamble had paid off because he had basically doubled his money with the investment.
But I invested pretty much everything I had into cryptocurrency. And I pulled it out a couple of times and I put it back in a couple of times. So I probably didn't do as well as I could have, but I invested all the way back here. And yeah, that's where we currently are with that market. So to say that I doubled my money is an understatement. In fact, I did more than that.
But despite claiming that his financial problems were behind him, Boogie tried to coerce his audience into continuing to support him, even implying that he still needed financial help.
Never feel pressured to get one of those memberships down below. Never feel pressured to subscribe on Twitch. Never feel pressured to make a donation or interact with one of my sponsors. Never feel pressured to buy a t-shirt. But please buy a t-shirt because half of those proceeds go to my friend who made the art for it, Ninja Chris.
But as fate would have it, Boogie's time as a rich crypto man would be short-lived, because just a year ago he would post another video titled "I Need Your Help," in which he'd explain how he lost all the money he had earned from crypto and some of his savings by making a bad investment.
The bad reason is I'm finally in a position where I have to get back to work. And I'm not making any excuses here. You know I spent a tremendous amount of money on dumb things. But the biggest issue is that I had a nice big nest egg. I took some financial advice from a friend, and I'm not pointing fingers necessarily. I took the advice, but I put my money in the crypto market in the wrong section, and I pretty much lost most of everything.
He would then ask his audience to help him keep the lights on through donations and by watching his videos.
So that's why I'm asking for your help today, and it's as simple as two groups of people here I want to talk to. The first of which is fans who just like the content. If you click on videos you like and you watch them to the end and you drop a like and you leave a comment and you share it with friends and you click the notifications, you do the YouTube stuff, you're doing plenty. There's a second group of people who might find themselves able to do a little more, and if you're one of those people, I'm asking for your help today too. Do you like the t-shirts I have? This one's not in the merch lane shop yet, but there's several, and I'm making new designs all the time. And if you like a t-shirt, buy a t-shirt. I make like a $9 profit off of a $25 purchase.
As you can expect, the video was heavily criticized, with several commenters urging their fellow viewers to not give in to Boogie's requests, so that is forced to quote, "get a real job like everyone else," with comments reading, "As a life pro tip to any youngsters here, never ever donate money to anyone online. These people all have more than you and you'll end up going to work so they don't have to. I'm sorry Boogie, but you aren't the only one struggling. Get out there and get a job and earn your money," as well as, "Guys, this man is richer than most of us watching him, even after the mistakes he made. He squandered his money and wants an easy out. Do not feed into it. The world is cruel, and if you want to put your faith into something, give your money to trusted places that will actually help individuals who need it. Don't give in to pressure from financially irresponsible e-celebrities." Despite all of the mistakes and controversies Boogie found himself in over the years, there was still some in his audience who saw him as a guy who just had some bad luck. To them, he wasn't manipulative, just someone who had faced tough breaks, especially when it came to money and weight loss struggles. Well, in 2023, that persona would be shattered. In early 2023, it was announced that a documentary would be made on Boogie, capturing the events in his life from 2019 to 2021. The documentary was to be director Mike Klum's debut on YouTube, and in October 2023, the documentary titled The Dark, Sad Life of Boogie 2988 was officially released on the platform. The documentary quickly opened many of Boogie's fans' eyes, providing a deeper, more honest look into the man behind the YouTube persona. The doc revealed several startling details, especially when it came to Boogie's financial habits. One of the major revelations was where a significant portion of Boogie's money had gone. According to the documentary, between 2019 and 2021, Boogie spent over $200,000 on sex workers alone. He reportedly took them on vacations, brought them lavish gifts, and treated them to expensive dinners.
I took women on vacations, and I took them out to fancy dinners, and I took them to like Disneyland and shit.
All while apparently struggling to make ends meet on a monthly basis and paying off a mortgage on the house he lives in.
I deserve to go to New York and explore Times Square with a beautiful girl, right? Like I deserve that, and I want that, and I've never had it. Man, if I had that money back, that would be half of my mortgage right now.
The documentary also featured an interview with one of the workers Boogie had hired, who confirmed the details Boogie had already admitted to. She recounted how Boogie had bought her a purse, gift cards, and dinner, all in one night, spending over $5,000.
He bought me dinner, he got me a purse that we were talking about over messages, and he got me a couple gift cards, and he spent well over $5,000 on just that night.
She further admitted to sleeping with Boogie later that evening in his hotel room.
We got back to the hotel, and I do regret to say that I slept with Boogie 2988.
The interview ended with the now famous line, which left a lasting impact on viewers.
I am now married with 2 kids, and sleeping with Boogie is one of the reasons I quit sex work.
These revelations naturally hit Boogie's fans hard. However, what truly caught his audience off guard was Boogie's disturbing outlook on women, as revealed in the documentary.
It's not a revelation. I like beautiful women. I like to hang out with beautiful women. Beautiful women. We all do. I never got to do that. The women I dated were pretty, sure, but they were like Arkansas 8s, not LA 10s. With sugaring, I got to fuck some LA 10s, and I think that's cool.
He treated them almost like objects for his own amusement. But the biggest talking point to come out of the documentary was Boogie's controversial relationship with his then girlfriend Des, who was just 20 years old at the time, while Boogie was 49.
So this is Desi. You can call her Desiree.
Yep, Desiree.
And we've been dating now for months. Yeah.
For those who were already aware of their relationship, the documentary amplified their discomfort with the significant age gap. It gave viewers a behind-the-scenes look into their relationship, prompting some of them to comment on how concerned they were about Boogie manipulating this young girl into staying with him, with comments reading, "The way he showed her his entire medical overview and stressed how close he was to dying made my skin crawl. That is so much for a 50-year-old man to dump on a 20-year-old girl," as well as, quote, "He's not manipulating me," from a 20-year-old with clear emotional trauma depending on a narcissist in a position to abuse that trust. Plus, the revelation that Des had grown up in a broken home and had massive abandonment issues also made the situation more alarming.
Growing up without a father figure has its challenges. Like, you just don't have that support system that you would and the advice that you need, and so it's just difficult. I don't ever want to be alone. That's another thing. Maybe that's why I have stuffed animals. I don't ever want to be alone.
Especially since Boogie is seen dumping all of his trauma on her and constantly scaring her that he might die during their relationship.
I really want you to understand how actually sick I am. Like, I don't know if you actually get it, but this is my health summary. This is everything that's currently wrong with me. My risk for stroke or heart attack is astronomical. I am essentially a walking time bomb. And I'm so f***ing sorry for that. I really, really wish I had taken better care of my body.
Yeah, I know.
Now, while the doc exposed Boogie for a lot of weird behavior, he did benefit in some way after its release. He immediately got back into the YouTube grind and started posting more regularly. However, something even bigger happened in the months that followed that would allow Boogie back on the path to financial stability: the creation of the now infamous podcast Lolcow Live. The podcast, set up by Keemstar, was designed to help Boogie get back on his feet financially and increase his channel's views. And for a time, the pod was Boogie's saving grace, giving him the means to generate an income and pay off the mortgage on his house and medical bills. But that wasn't the podcast's only purpose. You see, while the podcast was designed to help Boogie, it was also designed as a means to embarrass and demean Boogie for all the controversies, lies, and manipulation he had put his fans through. Basically, it was his punishment.
Look, what's up, Boogie? What's up, man? How you doing? Are you all ready?
You got it.
Hit me. Don't hit the side. Don't hit the
Hit his
face.
ass! Oh, she missed!
Oh.
What? Yeah!
I cannot wait.
It's like our chat's gonna be like calling his local like police precinct right now. There's a drunk man on the side of the highway in a yellow vest.
Yo, why does his Crocs match his whole fit?
I'm over here wondering why didn't he put on like fucking tennis shoes?
But despite all of that, Boogie did not seem to learn his lesson, because what he did next alienated almost everyone who had remained by his side despite all of his previous controversies. On the 26th of June 2024, Boogie made an announcement on Twitter endorsing a new crypto meme coin, the Fatty token, and launching a free giveaway for anyone who replied to the tweet with their Solana wallet address. The next day, Boogie posted a video onto his channel in which he was parodying Andrew Tate. Due to Boogie's efforts, the coin saw a massive surge in value almost overnight, reaching the 3 million mark at one point. But its fall was just as sudden as its rise. The coin lost 90% of its value in one day, causing huge losses for anyone who had invested in it at Boogie's request, with a tweet from CoffeeZilla reading, "Your coin's value just went up." Then Fatty Coin is down 90% in the last 24 hours, and the developers vanished, causing many people to label it as a pump and dump scheme that Boogie was in on. This resulted in even more outrage, especially since most of his audience remembered how he lost all of his money in crypto just 3 years prior. With the entire internet raging at Boogie, the matter was handed over to CoffeeZilla, the leading crypto scam investigator on YouTube, who decided to interview Boogie to unearth his involvement in the scam once and for all. The interview revealed that Boogie had taken a $10,000 payment to promote the scam coin.
You're going to get paid $10,000 for something, and those people aren't expecting a greater return on their investment. This is how meme coins work.
Their money back, but I mean, there are plenty of companies that I've worked with that are just there to get their name out.
When grilled about scamming his audience, Boogie played the victim card once again, stating that he had no idea it was a pump and dump scheme.
Well, I accept the fact that you're telling me I'm ripping people off, and I accept that that might very well be true, and I don't mean to be, and it was not my intention. My intention...
And that the entire thing was supposed to be a meme, and people weren't actually supposed to buy the coin.
That's the point. I thought it would go viral as a meme coin, as a joke, as a comedy bit. I thought that it would make people laugh. I thought people...
An investment is never a comedy. Like, people who are trying to tie comedy to investments, it's hilarious.
Make an investment. I didn't expect anybody to make a large...
When asked to return the money, Boogie revealed that he'd already spent it all on one of his medical debts because he was battling cancer.
The money's already spent. It's at Mercy Hospital right now. It's gone. I used it to pay debts. I used it to pay medical debts, so
You didn't have to tweet that tweet. You didn't have to tweet it out.
At this point, most of the internet knew that Boogie had been fighting cancer for almost 2 years. So even though his role in the scam made several of his fans angry, some of them were still willing to let him go out of pity. In fact, his cancer is one of the reasons why so many of his fans have continued to send him donations and purchase his memberships, despite his many controversies and questionable statements. So it came as quite a shock to the small few that remained when questions started being raised about Boogie's cancer diagnosis, questions that Boogie was unable to answer. It all started on the 11th of July 2024, on a star-studded episode of LOLcow Live when the YouTuber Destiny joined the call and instantly called Boogie out on faking his cancer diagnosis.
Boogie, 2488, you are being confronted tonight.
Go ahead.
I am 99% sure that you are faking.
No, don't move.
You are faking your cancer diagnosis, Boogie.
Okay, let's hear that.
To give you a bit of context here, Boogie had announced on his channel a year ago that he had polycythemia vera, a rare form of leukemia that causes his body to produce too many red blood cells.
Turns out I got a rare blood cancer called polycythemia vera, which basically makes your body produce too many red blood cells.
Destiny was refuting that claim, indicating that instead of having polycythemia vera, Boogie had secondary polycythemia, a condition that also resulted in the increased production of red blood cells, but was not a form of cancer.
That Boogie was told that he has polycythemia, which means he has an elevation of his red blood cells. Now, there is a cancer known as polycythemia vera, which is caused by a mutation in some part of your body that causes an elevation of 3 different levels of things you'll find. One of those is the red blood cell count. However, when Boogie was talking about the polycythemia, he mentioned a couple things that I thought were interesting. The first was that taking an exogenous hormone, TRT, testosterone, that caused an increase in him developing this condition. So taking testosterone will not cause you to develop a cancer. That doesn't, not for this particular cancer, it won't. It will cause you to develop secondary polycythemia. The second thing that he mentioned was that his doctor ordered a sleep study. That's because one of the things that can cause your body to produce more red blood cells is if you have hypoxemia, which is a lower count of, or a low amount of oxygen in your blood for an extended period of time. And the reason why he ordered that sleep study is probably because Boogie either has pulmonary obstructive something, or he has, as he mentioned, sleep apnea. And sleep apnea, which is a decrease in oxygen overnight, can lead to a decrease in oxygen in your blood, which can lead to an increase in the production of red blood cells. all of the things that Boogie described, both the things that caused this and the treatments for it, are consistent with secondary polycythemia.
Boogie obviously rejected this explanation by claiming that his doctor had told him that he had polycythemia vera.
It is secondary polycythemia.
Well, then
Can you
why would he
explain?
call it? Why would he call it polycythemia vera? Why would he tell me that I have hormone markers in my blood that tells me I have polycythemia vera?
At this point, the rest of the call starts asking to see Boogie's medical papers so they can put the whole situation to bed right there.
Yes.
Boogie, you want to keep saying you're the patient, you know what you have, your body has.
Yes.
When I go to the doctor, they give me like this, which is like papers that will tell me.
And I was going to say, Boogie can have this whole
exactly
thing.
the
Tell me a
diagnosis.
single document with polycythemia vera on it. You don't have one. I don't think the doctor ever diagnosed you with it. And
But Boogie would continuously refuse to do so while getting noticeably angrier.
I'm never showing any of these motherfuckers my medical papers. Go f yourself. I said that 2 years ago, and I'm staying by it now. Destiny, Jackson Clark, Keemstar, you can see it when I fucking die. It's my fucking goddamn medical record. I've given you every goddamn phone call.
Things would take an even more chaotic turn when Destiny proceeded to put up a bounty of $5,000 to see Boogie's medical records.
if Boogie can confirm, that he has polycythemia vera, and he actually has like a doctor confirmation of the blood cancer, I'll throw $5,000 towards his medical treatment. I'll make that personal pledge right now.
But Boogie would refuse once again.
No,
Hey, you need the money.
You're not seeing my medical records for 20, not for 50. You're not seeing my medical records.
$5,000.
I said this.
I said this a year ago.
This came at a huge shock, considering Boogie was prepared to scam his audience with a scam coin for just $10,000 a month prior, and had developed a reputation for doing almost anything for money. Meanwhile, the situation continued to escalate, with YouTubers Mr. Mitoker and Mudaha from Some Ordinary Gamers also joining the call, and putting up their own money to bring the bounty up to $25,000.
Some ordinary gamers will also put $10,000 towards it.
Make it 100. Make it $1 million.
If you have cancer, if you prove that
this is bullshit. No. You got 25K sitting on the table. There's something going on here.
Yeah, there's something is, man. I'm just exhausted. I'm done.
Still, Boogie refused, and the only reason he presented for refusing was to protect the last bastion of privacy he had left.
Just continue to LARP. I would rather you motherfuckers continue to LARP than to have
Okay, well,
the
no,
last
here's the
goddamn thing. The last thing.
You're the one
the
accused of
last
LARPing.
piece of security I have in the fucking world.
You're the one being accused of LARPing.
This made the entire incident even more suspicious, since Boogie has made the habit of broadcasting every minor detail of his personal life on the internet. For the next few days, several YouTubers, including Keemstar and Mudaha, would continue to ask Boogie to admit that he did not have polycythemia vera on Lolcow Live, and Boogie would eventually cave, finally admitting that his polycythemia vera diagnosis had never been confirmed, and losing what little fan following he had left in the process.
I already looked it up on the web portal. I already screenshotted it. It's a matter of just fucking dropping that in the group chat. Just so you know, but we're not fucking doing that. But look, right there.
You don't even have to do it in a
see those
group
words
chat.
right there?
You can
You
send
see
it
those
individually
words
to
right
one of
there?
them.
Just send it to me.
No.
Send it to me.
Fuck you. 4 days ago, you were looking at it. But
4 days ago you said you were looking at it.
Like
So
I
it's
told you,
it's
I
not
spent
on
the
me.
last.
He did, and I remember he specifically said, "I'm looking right at it, but I refuse to share it with you."
That's what the first part of this was.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
him saying that.
Yeah.
Like I told you, I spent the last 2 years getting treated for it. I've been told by my doctor for the last
It's
2 years.
fine,
this is
Boogie.
fake.
Just admit it's not on the portal.
It's not on there. I told you this.
At this point, it's no secret that Boogie had burned his last bridge with his fans, and the comments on his recent videos reflect that perfectly, with most of them calling him out for all the controversy and lying he has been involved in, with comments reading, "Here's Boogie shopping after he was crying last year about not making his house payment and bills trying to get money out of people. It never ends with him." I like how he reminds viewers he's broke the whole video, as well as, for Halloween, Boogie should dress up as the guy with polycythemia vera. Surprisingly, it does seem like Boogie's taking some responsibility for his actions by getting the word liar tattooed on his face as a punishment for lying about cancer.
I'm a 50-year-old man with a face tattoo now. Yeah. Yesterday was my birthday. I turned 50. This is how I spend my birthday, everybody. And I deserve it. I get it. I get it.
But honestly, it's too little too late. While this is likely the end of Boogie's YouTube career, he is still posting videos and trying to revive his channel, but whether or not his channel will start growing again is a mystery that only time can tell. From there, we move from YouTube self-destruction into a very different kind of public meltdown. He used to look like a model, now he looks insane. As someone who used to watch him since the beginning, I strongly believe that it's either drugs or mental health decline. It just started getting weird. This dude aged like dry leather over 10 years, holy shit. These comments perfectly summarize the way people now feel about the perfume influencer Jeremy Fragrance, who went from having the appearance of a perfectly structured GQ model to looking like this in a matter of months, where he once won the Consumer Choice Award for the best vlog at the 2018 Fragrance Foundation Awards. He's now making bizarre, borderline uncomfortable videos that test the limits of what should even be allowed on YouTube.
Today I did not off before my video, which I normally do, but I keep my to have a maximum impact on my face. I use this technique in certain videos, but if you overdo it, it's too much. So you gotta handle and understand your energy. It gives you ultimate power. It gives you the strength to convince people.
And if that wasn't bad enough, he was recently caught straight up sexually harassing women as well.
Seeing your face and seeing you talk. Totally a boner in my pants, but I'm not going to show it.
The rise of Jeremy Fragrance is easily one of the most unexpected success stories on YouTube. Jeremy, real name Daniel Sredinsky, never really planned on becoming a YouTuber. He wanted to be a rock star instead. He tried his luck with a German boy band called Part 6 between 2008 and 2010. And when that didn't take off, he went solo, releasing his own single in 2011, titled All of Me. But when his music career fizzled out completely, he turned to something completely different. He created his YouTube channel in 2014 and uploaded his very first video comparing perfumes of all things.
Lady Killer scents, and you know the stories about these two fragrances.
Surprisingly, it worked. The video ended up amassing over 500k views to date, putting Jeremy on many people's radar. That early success also gave him the confidence to keep going. Jeremy was working as a part-time model at the time, which became the core part of his content at the time as well. But what truly set him apart on YouTube was his uncanny ability to vividly describe every scent, breaking it down in a way anyone could understand. Armed with his trademark spin and dashing suits and charismatic personality, Jeremy would help his audience visualize every scent by assigning personalities to them.
The daring category. Okay, this is your daring fragrance, and ladies love a man that is bold, that is daring.
He mixed that talent with fast-paced list-style videos that hit the YouTube algorithm just right, helping him go viral twice in his first year, with one video hitting 1.8 million and another crossing 1.1 million views. As one of the comments on his video puts it, "This guy can make you hear smells." Fast forward a couple years, and Jeremy had built a loyal audience consisting of mostly men looking to up their fragrance game. He saw this demographic and formulated a plan to maximize engagement, and this took the form of him bringing in female models on camera and having them test different scents and pick their favorites for specific occasions. This worked like a charm, with the female approval angle drawing mass appeal and helping his videos explode in views. He was sitting at over 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube and over 10 million followers on TikTok in just a few years. But what kept people watching wasn't just his energy or the models, it was the raw, unfiltered way he ran his channel. Sometimes he'd just walk off mid-video to open the door without even cutting between.
That was really hardcore. I gotta open the door real quick. 1 second, guys. Okay, guys. Received some new samples.
Other times, he would purposely play into his character to entertain his audience.
I will smash my head into the wall now, but not too strong. Okay.
But his fans would stay glued to the screen all the times, fascinated by Jeremy's passion, energy, and charisma. As one viewer put it, "Man, I've never met a dude more passionate about fragrances in my life. That was ridiculously entertaining." Unfortunately, just when Jeremy was at the top of his game and had everyone convinced that he was one of the most genuine guys on YouTube, his mask started to slip. The first cracks in Jeremy's wholesome image started showing all the way back in 2017, when he asked his fans to donate to his Patreon so that he could afford a new laptop for editing his videos. Thousands of loyal fans chipped in, sending him money so he could supposedly supposedly upgrade his setup and improve video quality. But just a few weeks later, Jeremy shocked everyone by dropping a new YouTube video titled My New Car. In it, he proudly showed off his brand new Ferrari, filming the entire buying process and then taking a victory lap in it, all while his fans were convinced that he couldn't even afford a new laptop without their help. And as you might imagine, fans were not happy, with one disappointed viewer writing, "He literally begged for donations and then went and bought a Ferrari with them. It's sad and disingenuous. I hope he looks in the mirror one day and sees what he has become." Unfortunately, this comment and all of the others like it didn't see the light of day for very long, because instead of addressing the backlash, Jeremy quietly deleted all the negative comments while continuing to flaunt his new Ferrari like nothing happened. And somehow, the outrage faded, his fans slowly moved on, and the whole thing got buried eventually. However, Jeremy wasn't done digging himself into a deeper hole. The next big controversy arrived with the launch of his own fragrance brand, Fragrance One, at the start of 2019. According to Jeremy, the goal behind the brand was simple. Instead of trying to navigate the fragrance jungle, we give you a very clear answer. Wear this when doing that. It's simple and effective. And as it turned out, he'd already set himself up for major success by collaborating with the legendary perfumer Alberto Morillas, the man responsible for creating several iconic scents for major brands like Calvin Klein, Dolce & Gabbana, Giorgio Armani, and many others. With his help, Jeremy devised the formula for his first perfume, and once completed, made the big announcement on YouTube.
So this will be called Office for Men. It is our very first fragrance, the best office fragrance currently on the market in my eyes.
And even though he was now working with one of the biggest names in the perfume world, Jeremy wanted his fans to believe that he hadn't forgotten where he came from, emphasized by what he claimed to be the major selling point of his brand and perfumes.
I have tried to find the best solution for you to skip the jungle of fragrances when you go into a fragrance store. Oh, which fragrance should I take? Does this last long? Is this mass appealing? Do I get compliments? What fragrance should I buy?
And thus started his Kickstarter campaign, where he asked his loyal followers for help in turning his dream into a full-fledged business. The target of the campaign was to raise $25,000, which was hit within minutes. But the fans kept chipping in, and by the time the Kickstarter ended, Jeremy had raised nearly $800,000, making this the biggest crowd-funded fragrance in history. With his dream finally within reach, Jeremy kicked off an aggressive marketing campaign. Now, according to his early plans, the Office for Men fragrance was supposed to be valued at somewhere around €39 or $45. This would have kept his promise of offering a cheaper alternative to luxury perfumes. But just before launch day, Jeremy suddenly announced that the perfume would actually be priced at €140. Basically, the same price as high-end luxury brands. The backlash and accompanying scammer label was immediate, but he didn't seem to care. You'd think that would have been a wake-up call, especially since his entire brand was built on the support of those same fans. But instead of backing down, Jeremy ended up nearly doubling the price of all his fragrances a couple of months later, inviting even more hate from his audience and turning his once loyal fan base against him. What made this move even more bizarre was how Jeremy chose to justify the insane price increase.
And I'm going to tell you now why the price of my fragrance will be tripled soon. You gotta know, fragrances to me are like an art form. Fashion is an art form. Art obviously is also an art form. And some cars to the extent are also an art form. And what does a car manufacturer do? They produce a very small amount of cars to make them exclusive.
And while that reasoning might have sounded convincing initially, it completely fell apart when Jeremy himself went on TikTok to brag about how cheap his manufacturing process was.
The production costs of a fragrance. First, you buy the glass bottle. The glass bottle is about 50 cents, 50. Then you got the sprayer right here. This is another 50 cents. So we're at a $1. Then you got the cap. This is another 50 cents. Then you got the box around it, which is another 50 cents. So you're at $2 now for this empty stuff. You need the juice inside. The juice is the most expensive one. It's about $3. So 3 plus 2 is $5. And then you pay for the whole packaging, so it must be filled and everything. So that's another $1. So about $6 in total, and you have a finished fragrance.
This sparked a new, even more intense wave of backlash against Jeremy, with people leaving tons of negative reviews on his products and website. There were also several horror stories surfacing of people paying full price for one of his perfumes, but the bottle never arriving or being smashed into pieces on arrival. But as bad as scamming and disappointing his own audience was, Jeremy somehow managed to make things even worse, all in an attempt to expand his public image and connections. It all started in December 2023, when Jeremy decided to attend an event hosted by the New York Republican Club, where Donald Trump was the main speaker. At the event, he posted several Instagram stories with controversial figures, including David Bendals, 38-year-old editor-in-chief of the Deutschland Courier, also known for his ties to the right-wing populist Alternative Party for Germany, Ethan Klein, a 31-year-old YouTuber and prominent activist in the German branch of the identification movement, and the Austrian politician and TV commentator Gerald Gross. Though, unlike his previous controversies, he couldn't ignore this one even if he wanted to. Within days of these images appearing on his socials, he lost all of his existing brand deals and endorsements, with brands like Sky Deutschland and Aldi North publicly dropping all their content and ads with him. Sky even went as far as pulling his ongoing documentary, which had been airing since October, stating, "We clearly distance ourselves from any far-right content or statements." Even the high-profile publishing house, Hill Verlag, which had previously released a book about him, announced that they would no longer work with him. According to Jeremy, this incident also cost him a major deal, making him lose out on potential millions.
I should have had a big money deal with a German fragrance chain, which would have given me about 300,000 to up to more than $1 million. And it just exploded because I was in a show where I took pictures with multiple people, and one of those guys.
But here's the thing. These brands didn't just drop him because of the photos. They did it because Jeremy himself had changed. You see, one of the biggest reasons Jeremy had blown up in the first place, more than any other fragrance influencer, was his suave, confident, and put-together personality. His sharp suits, perfectly combed hair, and easy charisma made him feel like an authority on attraction. It was a major part of his appeal, and his audience let him know about it, with comments like, "I'm very straight, but he's one handsome dude," and "Bro, you can wear sunblock and get the best compliments ever." But by 2023, that image had completely fallen apart. The shift started subtly, with Jeremy hyping himself up as the best fragrance influencer in the world after allegedly finding religion.
I'm Jeremy Fragrance, the #1 fragrance icon that follows the teachings of Jesus. Nobody has done what I have done in the fragrance industry. I'm the best in the category of fragrances. I'm Jeremy Fragrance, the #1 fragrance icon that follows the teachings of Jesus.
This still seemed somewhat normal, considering how almost every influencer hypes themselves as the best at some point in their career. Like me, I'm the best. But then, he started posting the tagline, the #1 fragrance icon that follows the teaching of Jesus everywhere. From the description of his YouTube channel, to the caption of all of his videos on YouTube. But that was still nothing compared to the change in his appearance. He started dressing exclusively in all-white outfits, coupled with a large cross chain hanging around his neck. His hair looked noticeably drier and more brittle, while his face felt like it had aged 10 years in the span of a few months, capped off by his strangely hollow eyes. And this new look came hand in hand with a weird shift in personality, making Jeremy feel erratic and unpredictable in his newer videos.
With the Special Forces of Pakistan, I'm the guy that was nominated twice for the Fragrance Award and won it twice. I'm the #1, I'm the best, I'm the champion. I'm Jeremy Fragrance, the #1 fragrance icon that follows the teachings of Jesus.
It didn't take long for people to start comparing him to Patrick Bateman in The American Psycho, especially after he started posting pictures like this on his Instagram. But despite all the mockery and memes, Jeremy still decided to go all in on short-form content. For example, he'd often post the same TikTok 5 times in a row as algorithm bait, see which version performed the best, and then delete the others. As time passed, fast, he started chasing reactions, doing stranger and wilder stunts to stay in the spotlight. What began as harmless, slightly goofy bits on YouTube soon escalated to odd, borderline uncomfortable TikToks like this bizarre dance with an unknown woman. It became so strange that his audience started wondering if he had started taking some really strong drugs. As one viewer jokingly put it, "I think he doesn't only sniff fragrances at this point." And they might have had a point, because Jeremy's sniffing content soon spiraled into something completely unhinged.
This is literally my favorite smell. You know what this is? It's ghee.
His videos of sniffing Nutella specifically became one of the most bizarrely popular memes on the internet during that time.
I used to be addicted to this. I'm smelling this now for the first time since a long time.
However, that still had nothing on his reaction to sniffing pizza.
Okay, let's smell it. I want to have sex with this pizza.
And his comments on milk.
So good. No wonder they say that goat milk is the most similar to mother's milk. It smells so gorgeous.
Which unsurprisingly led to a wave of memes comparing him to Homelander from The Boys. But while some viewers found it all hilarious, his longtime fans started growing genuinely concerned about his content, which had gone from him offering expert advice on perfumes to absolute slop of him doing weird dances and having crazy reactions to smelling different things. Meanwhile, the drug abuse rumors only grew louder, especially after he moved to Miami, with a commenter stating, "Moved to Miami and became addicted to drugs is far more accurate than became religious." That concern only grew deeper when Jeremy began posting shirtless videos of himself. Sure, he still had a fair bit of muscle, but he still looked noticeably skinnier, dehydrated compared to his body from just a few years ago. But whenever his audience would confront him about his deteriorating health, he'd come up with the same narcissistic response that bordered on extreme denial.
And I got the six-pack, I got the good vibes, I got the red Ferrari, I got the golden Rolex, I'm a millionaire, I love what I do, I say fuck you and your f***ing ass if I want to say that.
And when it came to the drug rumors, he'd completely deny them, claiming that everything people saw on camera was an act to get more views.
I know what works, of course. I know that the jumping energy person works a lot, and I do it without any drugs. It's very good for me.
Have you ever done drugs?
No, never in my life I've taken any drugs except drinking alcohol.
He even claimed that the rumors didn't bother him, but still somehow ended up making a video trying to debunk them once again. However, he only managed to affirm everyone's suspicions, as he walks down the street shirtless eating protein powder off lettuce in a cardboard box. But as bad as this might have seemed, his longtime fans were still relieved that this new erratic attitude hadn't invaded his long-form videos. Until it did. Out of nowhere, his YouTube fragrance review videos started turning weirdly sexual as well, with plenty of inappropriate and weird comments about the perfumes he was discussing.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
This was highlighted the most in one of his most famous videos reviewing Perry Ellis 360 Red, where he'd start off by making some weird comments about the perfume.
And the last one I don't talk so much about is Perry Ellis 360 Red. I love it, man. It's the of the fragrance industry.
Then go off on a tangent that showed his flawed mental state.
And yeah, it's not so funny actually. Still don't know how to talk about the topic of masturbating. It's difficult, man. I do it, but I don't come.
And eventually reveal how depressed he really was.
All right, ultimately, of course, I want to have a girlfriend and a wife. Turning that girlfriend into a wife and have great kids. So that's Perry Ellis 360 Red.
There were several other notable instances as well, where he would make the weirdest comments that seemed to come out of nowhere.
And you know what I just did 5 minutes ago? I stimulated my... Not that I came, but I was on my Instagram, I was chatting with girls and blah.
And some of them were so out of place that his viewers started questioning how this was still allowed on YouTube.
Today I did not jerk off before my video, which I normally do, but I keep my semen to have a maximum impact in my face. I use this technique in certain videos, but if you overdo it, it's too much. So you gotta handle and understand your soul energy. Gives you ultimate power. It gives you the strength to convince people.
Behavior like that turned Jeremy from one of the biggest authorities on fragrances to a total joke, often dubbed the strangest man on the internet. By this point, most people were more amused by his antics than anything. Sure, he'd lost most of his credibility, but he wasn't unredeemable. That was until he sparked a bigger controversy that changed everything. And this time, it wasn't funny at all. For years, the fragrance community had brushed off Jeremy's sexual comments as jokes, his odd way of keeping people entertained. Sure, his comments about loneliness and not having a girlfriend were slightly concerning, but most people didn't think much of them, until Jeremy ended up getting exposed by fellow model and influencer Sarah Harris, who posted screenshots of her conversation with him on Instagram. These screenshots showed Jeremy trying and failing to flirt with her by sending messages like, "You woman, you know what I do with you. After we have our dinner in a fine restaurant together, and you wear your dress in that evening, you know what we do after then, Sarah." And when Sarah tried to shut down his advances, he replied with an even stronger message that crossed the line completely. "It will happen intensely, babe. You will wear a pretty black dress and show your like you always show. I go with you to restroom and kiss you and open my business suit. You start my then for 2 minutes. Sarah, to her credit, kept her composure, simply replying, "That's a dream that you have, it will never happen." It was pretty clear that Jeremy had wrongly assumed that just because she wore revealing outfits should be easy to charm. However, when she rejected him again and again, he didn't take it too well. And that's when his messages turned from creepy to outright disrespectful. You are not 18 years old and you know time is passing. Use your time now wisely and choose the best people for you, for the future, and for big you give. I'm sure you know which great men deserve great things from you. At this point, Sarah became annoyed as well, rightfully clapping back with a few insults of her own, which undoubtedly bruised Jeremy's ego, leading to him lashing out, stating, "Have fun in life. The clock is ticking. You should a man's now to get your validation back that I took from you." Once these messages hit the internet, his reputation went into freefall. The same people who felt bad for him now wanted nothing to do with him, leaving comments like, "Dude is a certified effing clown," and "I definitely believe he's pressured girls plenty of times. He's a total lunatic and narcissist." Now, you'd think that that type of public humiliation would make anyone take a step back and reflect, but not Jeremy. He ended up doubling down instead. This time, he'd grown tired of struggling to find a girlfriend, so he started holding auditions on his Instagram.
"So I'm looking for a girlfriend. You must be Christian and you must be under 32.
And when he actually found women who met his requirements, he'd add them on Snapchat of all places. But not long after, even the women who actually wanted to talk to him had to come up and expose him for the weird videos he was sending them, where he would make fun of their looks.
Hey, pretty woman with the intense teeth.
Ask inappropriate questions.
And is it possible at your age that you're still a virgin, Maria?
And even make vulgar comments towards them.
Seeing your face and seeing you talk. Totally a boner in my pants, but I'm not going to show it.
This incident eventually became the final straw, turning Jeremy Fragrance from eccentric or chaotic to a full-blown creep. He's lost everything he had. His charm, humor, or even respect, and his recent numbers reflect that. Nowadays, Jeremy is considered a classic example of what happens when you sabotage your own career. People on the internet have speculated on why Jeremy might have ended up this way, with many leaning towards the substance abuse theory. I think him inhaling all those fragrances has damaged his brain. Personally, I think his behavior is more of a symptom of serious deep-rooted mental issues. Regardless of the reason, however, the outcome is the same. After the harassment scandal and the type of messages he sent to girls being exposed, it feels like his career has passed the point of no return. That said, there are still plenty of people rooting for him to make a comeback and get back to being the Jeremy they once aspired to be.